can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family, we chose this one. This is episode 17, Fast and Furious 6, Lap 2. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode is brought to you by Walmart Grocery. You don't just pick up Owen Shaw like he's groceries, but at Walmart you do. We know you have your hands full. Work, school, soccer practice, and family obligations can quickly fill up your busy schedule. That's why they're offering free grocery pickup, so you can shop Walmart's huge selection of groceries online, and they'll have them ready for you when it's convenient for you. It means less time shopping for pantry staples, organic ingredients, and fresh produce, and more time for what's important, like baking cookies with the kids.
You know, that's actually... Well, shout out Walmart for sponsoring this episode.
Have you tried Walmart Grocery yet?
I don't know, is it available everywhere or is it just in cities?
It's in a lot of places. I've seen it at my local Walmart. You know, I was curious about it, and they said, hey, do you happen to do a podcast about Fast and the Furious? I said yes. And, you know, they decided to sponsor this episode, so...
It's also super timely, I think, because this week, as we're releasing this, is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Exactly, yes, that too.
Also, specifically, Black Friday, where Walmart is a madhouse. And
Which I love. I love
the
going.
quote in the movie is about, you know, you don't pick them up like groceries, you want to catch wolves, you need wolves, let's go hunting.
Yes.
And I feel like that is a very apt description of people out hunting, wolves out hunting for that perfect Black Friday deal. So I think this is just like a perfect timing all around, really, truly.
It's incredible to me sometimes how timely our sponsors are. It's like they come in like right at the right time. That's totally appropriate for many reasons.
These marketing teams we're in touch with, they are on top of their game, just like the filmmakers in this movie. This is a movie. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later. Our guest today is Jordan Polan-Clarke of the Wistful Thinking podcast, another podcast right here on the Cage Club Podcast Network.
When I was trying to remember her last name, I kept thinking Jordan Peele, and like I was
close.
Like, Rachel's like, "Who's the guest today?" I was like, "Jordan Peele," and I was like, "Well, not Jordan Peele, but Jordan." And she's like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, that's.
Did you know? I didn't watch the trailer because I don't watch trailers. But the trailer this week, as we're recording for Toy Story 4, just came out. Shout out Hanks for the Memories. We'll be starting in January. Me and resident historian Mike Manzi.
Go ahead.
And there's 2 new toys, and they're voiced by Key and Peele.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I saw the thing about the
cool.
2 new toys, but I didn't watch that. I was hung up on the Detective Pikachu trailer, which looks fucking awesome to me. So I'm all stoked.
I've not watched it yet. I will. That's one that I will watch because I just want to see what's going on there.
It's awesome. It's something cool. I never knew I needed, but as soon as I saw it, everybody, like all of my friend group, was just like, holy fuck.
So before we go further, we have a very special announcement. Joe and I have created a Patreon page. If you don't know what Patreon is a way that you can support us financially and also get a little bit of extra bonus stuff in the interim. So we've got a couple different tiers on there that you can donate money. You can get some merch in exchange. Joe and I have plans to do some exclusive commentaries where, you know, I'll go up to his house or he'll come down here and we'll just talk over them sort of director's commentary style and release them exclusively on the Patreon page. So go check out patreon.com, patreon.com/toofast2forever and consider donating. We already have, Joe, our first patron. That's what they're called on Patreon. And the tier that she donated to gets a verbal shout out, so hopefully you want this. Shout out Cassie Wilson, our first patron. Thank you so much. Cassie getting some merch in exchange for her donation when we get the stickers made.
The end goal, what I want, is to be able to make merch for Too Fast, Too Forever. And I thought like the most fair way to do this is to just give you guys merch if you donate. Like, I think it's like more of a store/transactionary thing than it is a donation. So
the thing with Patreon is, and we've talked about this off mic, is that it is a way that if fans want to support us, they can. Because sometimes, you know, people are very generous, especially to strangers on the internet, and they love something so much and they want to give back in a way. I'm not saying that you have to, dear listener, because these shows will always be free. We'll always do these every 2 weeks or whatever the frequency is. These will never go away. These will never be behind the paywall. The Patreon is just a way that we can do more of what we want, like create more episodes, advertise more on like Facebook and Twitter, reach more fans.
Exactly.
And also just really, you know...
Make stickers, make t-shirts, make all of this cool shit. That's what.
Make hoodies. I mean, hoodies are not in there, but hoodies are
That's
a
my
part of
end
what we
goal.
want to do. So yeah. It's just a way that if you want to, you can. You don't have to. You certainly do not have to. But if you do, we'd be eternally grateful. And in return, you get some sweet merch. You can get some stickers. You get a T-shirt. You can get exclusive audio content. If you want more of us talking in your ears, this is a great way to do it. And it's just also a way to. I think what's kind of exciting is if we get a bunch of people to start donating to us, it also kind of creates like a hub, like an online hub for people who care about this show, but also Fast and Furious, beyond just the Reddit of Fast and Furious, the R Fast and Furious or whatever. It's a way that people who write in here each week or listen to the show or tweet at us or whatever can go and can interact with each other and sort of have this central community that once you become a Patreon you have access to. So I think that's
that'd be pretty cool.
kind of cool just for fans to. You might like the show, but at the core, everybody who's listening to this likes these movies, and I think it's just another great place if you want to discuss these movies, at least especially in the frequency that we release, because every 2 weeks, in theory, we're going to be talking about these or watching these movies, and you can sort of have like a timeline to be talking about these if you're following along, if you're watching along at home, like resident historian Mike Manzi is.
Amen.
Patreon.com/2fast2forever if you want.
Numbers, yeah.
Shout out Cassie Wilson one more time. Thank you. Okay, our first segment on the show, extracurricular activities. Now that we're doing these every 2 weeks, they are a little bit tighter together. However,
I have a fucking doozy.
I have a doozy too, which I
Okay.
told you about, which is crazy.
What? Go ahead, you go first then.
I went to a housewarming party this past Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck, I
To
forgot.
a friend, a girl that I'm friends with,
Yeah.
and her boyfriend were hosting this. They're friends of friends that I met at a barbecue this summer. Then I invited them to my housewarming when I bought my house because they lived nearby and they were also downtown. And I was just like, hey, just stop by.
Yeah,
They
stop
stopped by
by,
for a little
swing
bit.
by.
But that's it. That's the extent of my friendship with these two people. I've met them a couple times, talked to them a grand total of maybe 2 hours. Cool, done.
Yeah.
So I text my friend who knows them, who I met them through. I'm like, are you going to this party? They're like, yeah, we're going to show up a little bit late because I'm doing a work thing, but I'm going to get there around 6. I was like, cool, I'll get there around 6 too.
Yeah.
So I get there at 6. I walk in the door. I see the boyfriend, the guy, his name is Todd, and he's talking to somebody, and I don't know the other person, I don't want to interrupt, but the girl, Jackie, is walking toward me, and I say, hey, I just got here, whatever, and she says, hey, something fun is about to happen, just roll with it. And I was
Sick.
like, okay,
Cool.
cool.
So we're
And
about
so
to
I
all
go to
do
the
drugs. That sounds
corner of the
awesome.
room, and there are like 60 people, and like it's not a big house. Like it's a nice house, but it's not a big house. And there's like
Yeah.
like it is packed, and it's coworkers, it's family, from kids to like grandparents. Like it is like it spans the gamut, and I know no one except for the couples. And I'm like,
Okay.
this is weird. And I just go
And
to the
you're waiting
corner,
for
just
your
get out
friend
of
to
the way.
arrive.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay. So I get my phone out. I'm texting people or whatever, and they go to the front of the room. They go to the living room. They say, "Hey, we've got some news. We're engaged," and the whole crowd cheers. And I'm like, "Cool." Like I don't really, I'm excited for them, but don't really know them, so it's whatever.
Yeah.
And she says, "But that's not it. We're also getting married right now." And I text my friend. I'm like, "Hurry up! They pulled the Parks and Rec. They're getting married right now. Get here." And she says we're 6 minutes away, and I was like, that's not going to be enough time. Everybody in the room is filming, and I'm in the corner, and I'm texting you, I'm texting my sister, I'm texting my friend who's on the way there. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm here. Like, this is, like, it's cool, but it's so weird, and I
Yeah.
barely know them, and I don't know anybody else. And it turns out that as, the groom's brother was ordained online, and he married the two of them, and
Yeah.
as they kissed and the whole room cheered, my friends pulled up outside and got out of the car and heard a cheer. They're like, I guess that's the house. And so they walked in. Later in the night, when I got to sit down with the bride and groom, because they were sort of coming around, I was with my friends.
Yeah.
They were saying, the bride, Jackie, was saying, my sister is pregnant, she's giving birth tomorrow. She couldn't be here tonight. I wanted to Facebook Live it for her. And I was trying to figure out who to give the phone to, and I almost gave it to you because she realized I have no connection to anything, and so she realized how insane it is that I was there. But she was a good sport about it. I mean, like they're both cool people. Like I didn't mind. Like I liked being there. I liked both of them. It was just like the third time I'm ever seeing these people in my life is at their wedding. Like it's just
Yeah, that you
crazy.
didn't know you got invited to. That's crazy.
Yeah, and so I
That's
just
a
think
really
it was really
fun
funny that
story.
like it was a housewarming party that became a wedding. and I was there, and so didn't have to give a wedding gift, which is great. Got
Dope.
pizza, some of the best wedding food I've ever had.
Yeah.
What more to complain about? There's nothing to complain about. It's all good stuff. So
You didn't have to worry about like getting a fucking suit or
No.
anything. It was awesome.
She had a really nice dress on, but after the fact, she's like, it's $30 on Amazon. The dude got married in flannel and jeans. Like, it was so low key.
That's
Because,
awesome.
they just want to keep it real low key, keep it with friends and family, and that was it. And it was just like, oh,
Friends and
cool.
family and you.
Yep, friends and family and me, exactly. But yeah, so that was my thing. I got one other little thing to go, but I know that you have a big thing that happened recently, so why don't you go forward with that?
My big thing is not really exciting. I have a funny story, I guess. Last week, Rachel and I were getting a pizza, and I was carrying the pizza out of the pizza place.
Was the pizza at a wedding?
Was not at a wedding.
Okay.
It's just this was non-wedding pizza. This was just
Normal pizza.
yeah, normal pizza. No surprise wedding at the house afterwards. So I'm getting this pizza, and I'm coming out of the pizza shop, and there's like two small steps there, but they're like, kind of short. I was holding the pizza box in front of me, and I didn't realize that there was two steps. I thought it was one. I missed a step and like turned and landed on like the side of my foot and just like shredded the tendon in my arch of my foot. So I've been super hobbly, and my ankle right now looks nice and purple going on, like some purplish greenish hues going on here. I have a fun time boot. I didn't break anything, and I didn't hurt my ankle either. It was really funny. All the doctors are like very impressed that like I did nothing to my ankle, just like fucked up my arch really bad. And it's like
Huh.
very uncommon. Yeah, you normally like dislocate your ankle or sprain it or something, but like no, my ankle's fine. It was just the inside of my foot. Also, I saved the pizza, and I had a bag on top. Nothing fell, nothing shifted, nothing sprayed anywhere. Totally fine. But
Good.
yeah, that's what I've been
Cool.
dealing with for the past like week essentially. But in a more fun thing, this weekend I will be going to Ottawa to see a Penguin game.
Which we will talk about on our Furious 7 episode, your little trip there. So,
We
very
absolutely
exciting.
will. We'll be talking about it then.
Last Thursday, I recorded a podcast called "I Hate Wrestling," which I don't know when that's going to come out. Sometime in the indeterminate future. This guy's backlogging episodes. As a guy that I met at a Halloween party. The reason I bring it up, aside from it's a thing that I did, is because I talked about The Rock on it, and The Rock, obviously a big part of this movie, his battles with Ken Shamrock, and we sort of watched 3 different clips, one ahead of time and 2 there, and so I sort of watched a bunch of wrestling for only like the second
Just
time in my
fun.
life. And I guess, I mean, that's a description of it. Not exactly my cup of tea, but I didn't dislike it. It just, I'm not hungry for more. But I enjoyed, especially watching The Rock just, control the crowd. Even literally 20 years ago, like this match that we watched was from like March of '98, and it's crazy. Even back then, like he has no idea that in 20 years he's gonna become like one
The
of the most
Rock.
famous people on
Yeah.
the planet and like one of the most, if not the highest paid actor in Hollywood, like all this different stuff. But he is
Yeah.
still a dominant physical presence, just personality wise, and it was cool to see. Not really the origins, but very close to the origins of The Rock.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I was a big fan of wrestling when I was a small child. I remember like the greatness of The Rock. I went to probably one of the most famous wrestling matches ever when Undertaker threw Mankind through the top of the cage in WrestleMania in Pittsburgh. I was there live. I remember it happening and like all of this greatness. And I miss wrestling. I miss The Rock. So being a wrestler, like an entertainer in that form.
The only thing I want to mention is that I watched this movie called Thunder Road, which resident historian Mike Manzi also really like. I loved, and he really, really loved too.
Okay.
It's this new movie. It went straight to VOD this year. I didn't know about it. I just sort of like stumbled across it, and I was like, this is great. But the reason I bring it up here, aside from the fact that I think everybody should watch it, it doesn't have anything to do with Fast and Furious, but there is one line in the middle where the dad says to the little girl, "Oh, honey, you don't have to do that right now. I was hoping we could go downstairs, order a pizza, and watch a Fast and the Furious." And I was just like, man, like, I just love that this has become, like, a thing, sort of, in
Yeah.
popular culture. Like, it's just these things that people love, you know what I mean? So
Yep, I agree.
it's not to the extent of Blockers, where there's an entire Fast and Furious, like, extended thing, but it's just the one line. But just the fact that they're able to reference these, I just love. So I cracked up when I heard that. And
Yeah, that's really cool, actually.
I
I
recommend it.
I like anytime a movie references, like, another pop culture thing, especially a movie, especially Fast and Furious,
Yep.
franchise that we love, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So the next thing, anything else you want to cover for extracurricular activities, or should we move on to the mailbag?
No, I'm just going to be hobbly for a while and hope everybody wishes me luck with hobbling. That's all I
Cool.
want, so.
Well, before we get to the mailbag. We got a tweet from Jake Keel at fake Jake Keel at Cage Club Pod, and he built in 2013 a Rock action figure, like a Luke
Ooh, I
Hobbs
saw
action
this.
figure,
Yeah.
which is incredible. And it's even got, I commented, I responded, he's got a little bit of the people's eyebrow. He said, all it needs is a goatee and a little pile of sweat. And I said, don't forget a bottle of baby oil. And it's just so cool. I don't remember if I think we just liked it. I don't think we retweeted it at Kids
I
Go
saw
Pod,
it,
but
and it was
check out
awesome.
fake Jake Keel on Twitter. Jake, thank you for, he's tweeted at us a couple times. Thank you for
Listening.
sharing this with us. It's awesome.
listening.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
You love these movies the way that we do, and it's clear. It's just awesome. So I wanted to shout out Jake Keel for that. The mailbag itself, we have an email address here, family@cageclub.me. You can write in whatever you send in. We will read on air if
He'll
you've got
read
thoughts
it.
about the movies, if you've got thoughts about the show, thoughts about the actors, whatever you want to do. If you just want to say hi, we will read it on air. Or if you want to write in and you don't want us to read it, we don't have to read it. So
Yeah, just say hi. Check in.
family@cageclub.me. Our old buddy Wes Hampton emailed us
nice,
saying,
cool.
playing catch up.
Okay.
So here we go. He I don't think he wrote in the last episode, but so he's got a couple episodes
Yeah.
worth of thoughts here.
Okay, cool.
He says, "What up, fam? It's been a few episodes, but I've been following along eagerly, even though I didn't write in.
No worries.
October got away from me, and then with the 2 quick episodes back to back, I decided to wait until now to email. But I've been taking some notes, and there was a lot covered in the last 3 episodes, so I'll do my best to keep my comments short and sweet, because I have something I've been holding on to that fits perfectly with the discussion you had with Walt for Fast 5. Again, shout out Walt Hickey. Go
Yeah,
check
that
out
was an awesome
numlock.news for
episode.
his daily newsletter.
Yeah.
Walt was great. I think that conversation was great.
Yeah.
Wes writes, firstly, all of your guests so far have been great. I've really enjoyed getting all these new perspectives, and everyone so far has been a good sport about it, even when they're not fans of the movies.
Yep, true.
I took some notes about the Tokyo Drift episode, but then I think I accidentally deleted them, so I'll just say Chris is crazy, this movie is great, end of discussion.
Amen. We agree with you, Wes. You know that we love Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big
Liam and
fan.
Ellie, Fast and Furious 4, he says, Liam and Ellie were so good and so funny. Are they siblings? They have a real brother-sister back and forth. That was a lot of fun to listen to. No, they're not related. They're just a couple of buddies in London or in England. But if you like their banter, and I think they do have good banter, especially just like how much Ellie just lovingly hates Liam. Like, I think it's great.
It's not even... It is a sibling
sibling thing,
kind of
yeah.
feeling. Yeah, I agree.
Go check out their podcast, Nerd on Nerd. Joe and I were on, as we mentioned on that episode, we were on one episode a couple years ago, maybe a year ago, talking about We Are Your Friends, the Zac Efron movie. But we realized, and I don't think we really stressed this enough on our episode with them, that they are British us. Like, they barbecue like Joe, they love
Dude,
beer, they love all the
it's
nerdy
so
shit.
Weird. Yeah,
It's
if
so
you know the
weird.
story, like how we met them, like we found Liam on Letterboxd when we were like
Yep.
looking for reviews of this movie, and we were just like, holy fuck, this person gets it. And then as we get to know them more and more and more, we realize that they're very, very similar. Like their banter, everything. I think it's very similar to us. So
Yeah. In your Fast and Furious episode, you talked about the NOS energy drinks. I don't think the episode's still available, but on No One Likes the Tuna, they did a NOS taste test on an early episode with, I think, all 6 flavors.
There's 6
And if I
flavors of
remember
that shit?
right, I guess.
apparently.
And if I remember correctly, they were all pretty bad. If you're interested, drinknos.com has a pretty good product finder that will tell you where you can buy it and what flavors each store around you carries. I remember
If I can't buy it at Harry's, I'm disappointed.
when resident story Mike Manzi wrote in, he was so excited that he saw the NOS in a
It's
convenience
kind
store.
of made like a
whatever.
revival. There's a period that I don't know if it's because we weren't doing these, but there's a period that like I don't remember it existing. Like it existed when we were kids, and then there's a period that I don't ever remember seeing it, and now it's like back again. And I don't know if it has like to do with the movies or what's going on, or maybe I just don't see it as much. I didn't see it, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't look in those kind of stores, like at the energy drink things. I just go for the Arnold Palmer, or like when I was drinking
Same,
soda,
yeah.
go to the soda. Like I don't browse. I don't know if they've been around, but I definitely am aware of them now, just like you, I think. But that's also because of the podcast and of our
Yeah, we're thinking about it all the
refound obsession in the movies. Okay, Dwight, the cowboy, who we were calling David Spade or Joe Dirt,
Yeah, Joe Dirt,
is
yeah.
one of my favorite characters in Fast and Furious. He's played by Greg Cipes, Cipes, I don't know how to
Okay.
pronounce that, who's best known as the voice actor for Beast Boy in the Cartoon Network Teen Titans, which
Okay.
we just covered Teen Titans Go to the Movies over on Cage Club, where Nicolas Cage plays Superman. And Michelangelo in the 2012 Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, he says the excellent CGI one. And I think I don't want to put words in Wes's mouth, but maybe one of the only like pop culture things he loves more than Fast and Furious, turtles. So if he says it's excellent, I'll take his word for it, because he probably knows what's good and what's bad.
True.
He says Dwight is such a goofy, laid-back surfer guy in real life, and seeing him in this movie always makes me laugh. Wes writes, Brian is the worst cop/FBI agent ever, but this universe's version of the FBI is the dumbest one ever for bringing him back, which I think we talked about a little bit.
Yeah, we definitely were talking about how Brian's the worst cop ever, and like how do you move up the ranks? Like that's peak white male privilege to move up the ranks and be terrible at your job at the same time. Like,
yeah, he says I'm pretty sure he didn't just leave the force to disgrace after the Fast and Furious. He was on the run from the cops and the FBI. He was wanted for letting Toretto go, and he only worked with them in Too Fast, Too Furious to get the charges dropped. Not only should he never have been a cop again, he should have been laughed out of the FBI admissions process, which, agreed.
Yeah.
New point, it seems like an honorable thing for Dom to say he was going to stop running and face his punishment at the end of Fast and Furious, number 4. Okay. But I recently realized he only said that because he thought he was going to get away with a largely reduced sentence. As soon as the judge handed down his sentence, he looked like he was instantly regretted it, and he had no qualms about Brian and Mia busting him out. So I think that's an interesting element, that like Dom's like, oh yeah, like I'll just, maybe probation, maybe like, a little bit of a sentence, and then he gets, 25 to life with no expectation of parole or whatever, and rough.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, cool, you guys are going to break me out though, right? And yeah.
Yeah. Works.
Moving on to Fast 5, Walt is crazy interesting to listen to as he talks about films. He thinks about these movies in ways I haven't really considered from a technical storytelling perspective, and it made for a really great episode. I agree. Walt's a really smart dude, really interesting dude.
He is.
Check out the podcast he does with his boyfriend, Not Her Again, where he talks about Meryl Streep movies, Julia Roberts movies, the years that they were nominated for Oscars, did not win.
His writing is fucking awesome too. Like I was trying to not fangirl, but like I read like a lot of his articles from when he was working at 538. They're all amazing. Like his just the way he's writing and like what he does and what he has done for writing pieces is amazing. So
he does the things that we do, that you and me do, or Mike and I do, or whoever, but like in a more analytical, mathy way.
And he does like things that, like I only have like wet dreams of like being paid to do. You know what I mean?
I sent you the thing. He was paid to go down to get basically audition for Madden.
This is the coolest article I've ever seen in my life. Yeah.
And the people like EA who makes Madden ran him through the ringer of basically did like the NFL Combine, tested him for how far he could throw, punt, kick, all this different stuff. And he got paid to go down there and basically make a fool of himself and then write about it. And it was...
And he was in the game. They like made a Walt character in Madden, and then they like ran simulations of like if he could win games and stuff, and they and then he played it it's so cool. Yeah, it's so
really cool. Wes goes on, you guys have mentioned many times that the script was adapted from what was originally the sequel to The Italian Job. I'm just wondering where you got that. And I will tell you, it was on, I think, the IMDb trivia for The Italian Job. Because I remember we found out about that when Mike and I were doing Watch the Throne, and we got to the Italian Job, and we're like, oh shit, Fast and Furious. So
was I on that
episode?
That's where we got
it. No.
Okay, I feel like I was. I don't know why.
I told you about it. You're like, I love that movie. We're like, okay.
Yeah.
Wes writes, I've looked all around, and all I can find is several reviews of Fast 5 making that assumption based on the presumed story similarities and the timing of their production schedules and cancellation of the Brazilian Job, but nothing that actually says what happened. Again, this is something, Joe, that we've talked about. We read it on IMDb. It is treated as gospel here by us, but might not be true. Like, I don't know where that came from. This might just sort of be hearsay, but
I feel like we read it somewhere else, or somebody else told us that fact too.
Yeah.
On top of like us finding it in the IMDb trivia of what's it called? I really feel like somebody that I trusted told us that, but I could be just hallucinating it. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It also might be like on maybe like a DVD commentary. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember now.
Wes says, I don't disagree. I just can't find anywhere to confirm it. I even checked to see if the Brazilian Job writer got a writing or story credit on Fast 5, but he didn't.
Ooh,
and I don't know the exact
plot
technical
thickens.
things, but if you change enough of the script, the previous writer doesn't have to get credit. But like if you change like less than a certain percentage, they still have to get a writing credit. Like it's this whole like complicated thing in terms of the Writers Guild and
Yeah, I get it.
It's whatever.
Science papers are very similar, right?
Yep. Lastly, something you and Walt talked a lot about ties into something I've been thinking about a lot over the past year or so.
Okay.
It's really interesting to hear someone discuss the storytelling in these films in terms of a D&D campaign, because that's exactly what it feels like.
Yep.
About a year ago, a friend of mine told me about her Fast and Furious headcanon, which I don't know what that is. I don't know.
Okay.
In which all the main characters, I think it's a D&D thing, we'll find out, in which all the main characters are what she refers to as, quote, automancers, which is essentially a wizard whose power is increased by being in, or in later films touching, a car. It's a silly concept, but it makes sense in terms of how their abilities and adventures have leveled up. Ever since then, I've been mentally working on a Fast and Furious tabletop RPG, which, holy shit, if you finish that, Wes, we're going to play that with you. I don't
Obviously.
know, we'll figure it out, but that needs to happen.
I will Kickstarter a copy today.
Where you create your own automancer, build your crew, compete in races, go on missions, and maybe even run into the family as you progress, which would be great. That sort of reminds me of, do you remember that game, I never played it, The Matrix Online, where you couldn't play as Neo, but like you could run into Neo? Like you were just like a person who had been unlocked, like you sort of like, that you took the red pill and you were unplugged and you sort of could develop your powers, but then like you could just be playing and like Neo would be there. And so I think it's just cool that like...
Was it somebody playing as Neo, like a developer?
No, it was just like a super powerful computer, like an NPC with Neo. I just like that idea that like you're just, doing your campaign and then all of a sudden like Dom is in a race with you. It's just like, oh shit, like he's here.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I wouldn't make the Automancer thing explicitly magical in the game, but it's a fun concept to think about incorporating. I haven't had a lot of time to actually work on it, but I found a couple of existing games to combine and adapt the rules for it, which is very cool.
Yeah,
the main game I'm thinking of using is pretty racing vehicle combat heavy, and even as a system that promotes attempting ridiculous stunts for big rewards, which sounds perfect to me.
Yeah, sounds like that's dead on.
The main thing is that it's simple and forgiving to the players in the name of fun. Their basic motto is fun over everything else, which has always been the way to run any campaign in my experience. Yeah, I mean, like, you could be like a dick of a DM, but like a dungeon master, but like, why? Like, just
if
just
it's not
have
fun, it's not fun. Yeah, like, why would you do something that's not... Joey and I have designed games before.
Oh, yeah, Mafia.
Yeah, we have designed Mafia games, which some of you might not know what it is or might not know what it is. Like, every person gets a character. Nobody knows who they are besides themselves. And then, like, different characters do different things. And, like, we would spend a lot of time designing these games and playing online with, like, 30 players.
Yep.
And my main goal was, like, for it to always just be fun and, like, something weird. So...
And usually it was.
And usually we got great reviews, so... Yeah.
It's much more important to tell a fun and engaging story than worry about every little rule, much like the Fast and Furious films.
Amen.
Who needs to know how long this runway is when you can just have a magical runway? Of course, my Fast and Furious version would also put a heavy emphasis on family as well. I've seen other Fast and Furious adaptations of D&D or other RPG games, but there are so many aspects of the films to focus on that it's easy to have multiple games based in the Fastiverse that feel completely different. Just like how, there's multiple movies that all feel completely different.
True.
I really like the idea of creating a game that hits all the notes of the series that resonate with me and my friends, the driving, action, heists, and all that has to be there for sure, but also the focus on character relationships and family is just as important. So maybe someday I'll get around to building a playable version and we can try it out. Absolutely. Definitely 100%.
You just inspired me to want to make a Fast and Furious version of Mafia now too.
Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because when we were doing Mafia games, we always did we did a lot of themed ones.
We did Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
We did Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
We talked about doing Sopranos with those before I watched The Sopranos, which I still feel like it would be kind of difficult. Like I don't know, it's doable, but Fast and Furious would definitely be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Wes says, I think I've gone on long enough now, so I'll leave you with a car pick. And he leaves a car pick here for us to guess, which we can do with Jordan if we remember, if time allows. If not, and Wes, if we don't get back to this, I apologize, but we will play this at some point.
Yeah, of course.
But that is cool. Okay, so thank you, Wes, for writing in.
Yeah, thanks, Wes.
On the Streets. This is our roundup recap of what's going on with the franchise, with the actors. Joe, what you got?
I Got nothing. You go first.
Number one, they're shooting Hobbs and Shaw right now. The Rock apparently got a text from his trainer saying you need to be a little bit bigger for these scenes tomorrow, so he got
Whoa.
permission to eat pizza and sort of like puff up a little bit, because whatever they were going for needed, like, instead of just like lean muscle, just sort of needed mass. And so The Rock posted on Instagram a picture of him eating 2 pizzas while watching Netflix or something. So, what a guy, what a champion. The other thing that I found,
Okay.
this is not something I was looking for, but I was just reading the sites that I normally read, and posted today, there's that upcoming Disney streaming service that's coming out, and there's going to be a handful of different new series.
Yeah.
One of them is The Mandalorian, and tough girl in space Gina Carano cast in The Mandalorian. So
Who's
Gina
that?
Carano from this movie, she's Riley. She's the good girl turned bad.
Oh,
the girl
yeah,
that The
that
Rock
one.
recruits and gets recruited, or gets
Fake
taken
Ronda
back
Rousey.
to Shaw. But she was just casting something. I also want to give a shout out to one of the best. It's a movie that's been covered twice so far on the podcast network. You and I will get to eventually for Magic Mike's. But Gina Carano, I mentioned this in the last episode, I think, when we talked about Fast and Furious 6, starred in Haywire, which is a Steven Soderbergh movie. That is fantastic.
Okay.
We covered it on Cinemakers, and then the Contenders covered it. Tobin and Island from our first episode this lap, they talked about it. And then we'll talk about it because Channing Tatum is also in it. So Haywire rules. I think she's great in this movie. She's not always great in everything, but with the right direction and the right parts and everything, she can be great. So
Yeah.
the Mandalorian, I think, is probably going to be good. I don't know, but Gina Carano, cool. I like it. I like it. I like it. Do you have any other news? Did you find any news or no?
I have one little tidbit
Okay.
that I didn't catch, but apparently this is actually pretty big news. Not that it's surprising, but Gal Gadot is the new Reebok campaign girl. Did
Okay.
you see this?
No. Okay.
Good for her, man. Like I think getting like a sports athletic wear deal is like top tier. That's like easy money, right? Like you have to be like some kind of star to do that. And for it to not go to an athlete, like obviously she's athletic and super attractive, but like for it to not go to an athlete is like double thumbs up. Good for her. That's awesome.
I mean, if you follow her on Instagram, she posts like workout videos and she like busts her ass. Like in terms
Oh,
of,
I'm
like,
sure.
she does like
Yeah.
cardio and she does boxing and stuff. Like like she's badass, and like, she deserves it. She's great in this movie. R.I.P. in this movie. Rest in peace,
Yeah.
Giselle. Yeah, no, that's super cool. I'm mostly a Nike guy, but shout out Reebok for Gal Gadot.
Same. Yeah, I'm
You're a Nike and Yeezy guy.
Nike and Adidas for me.
New lap observations. We're going to do one other thing real quick, and then we're going to take a break. New lap observations. What did you notice this time around that you never noticed before? You just watched the movie last week, so you watched it twice in a week. What did you
yeah.
catch this time?
So I watched it twice. Rachel and I watched it drunk about a week ago, and then I watched it tonight for today. One thing that I just caught watching it this time, like right now, they find out where Shaw's going based on the paint sample that The Rock seems to find, and I totally missed that was like a part of the storyline. Like in between like the garage and them with the tank on the highway, like the connection that they sell you is that like there was this magic paint, this like thermal paint that they had, and Tej, computer hacker, finds it, runs it against every other paint sample in the world, and like figures out that it's from this airline or like hangar. So yeah, so I was just like, oh, I guess that makes sense, maybe.
Not about an observation about the movie, but like stuff like that. Like I took 4 single-spaced pages of notes last time, the first time we watched this.
Yeah.
First time we talked about this. There are like long stretches of this movie where it's just like plot development that I just have 0 notes on.
Yeah.
So I think that like I think it's natural in a way to focus on the crazy action, focus on the family,
Yeah.
focus on the character development, and sort of why is this happening? How did we get there? Whatever doesn't really matter as much, but also important to point out and good to notice. The one thing I want to say that I noticed this time around
Is?
this is something we talked about with Walt, when I think the quote was something about like it's always best when The Rock gets the fuck in the movie, like in a PG-13 movie. Remember
Oh,
we were talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
like
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Did you catch who says it in this movie?
No.
So I noticed it and I was like, oh, I gotta go back. So when the family is all together, this is not the first time they all get together, but this is after there's the flip car and they all get back together. and Tej is talking to Roman. He says, "Your voice just went from Shaggy to Scooby Doo."
Yeah.
And Roman says, "Seaman, when a woman starts shooting at you, that's a clear sign to back the fuck off. We got to get the hell out of Dodge. That could have been my forehead, man." And Tej says, "That's not as big as your forehead." It was just
So
interesting
Roman
to
got
me.
the fuck.
Another PG-13, but Roman got the fuck in this movie. So
We have to track that. That's interesting.
yeah.
I'm
So
glad
The
we can
Rock
figure-
got it in 5. Roman gets it here. We got to check out 7 and 8, and also the ones before. But
Yeah,
these
because
are
you're right.
ones-
Because it's so passing. Like I swear a lot. So like I don't really notice it. I notice when stuff's like beeped or like censored.
Yep.
But like I don't notice the like who says fuck when in a movie because it's just totally normal to me.
Yeah. So that's all I got. We will take a quick break and come back with Jordan Polan-Clarke of the Wistful Thinking podcast. Once again, family@cageclub.me. Right in for the next episode. Furious 7 we will cover in 2 weeks. But before we get there, let's talk about Fast and Furious 6. So we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. We would like to just thank our sponsor, Walmart Grocery. A little tidbit news from today that's also a reason why they're a sponsor. Walmart has now partnered with Ford to test self-driving grocery delivery to you in Miami, and they're
Ooh.
planning on rolling it out across the country. I mean, if it works.
In Miami?
Yeah.
The site of Fast and Furious. Too Fast, Too
I
Furious.
know, it's just too much. Everything connected on it.
The number 2 much?
Yes.
With us to talk about this movie, which is 6 much, if you will. We teased her before the break, co-host of Wistful Thinking, also co-host of one of the newest, if not the newest show here on the right? I think the newest show on the Cageful Podcast Network.
Shiny.
It's sort of a mini show, our first spin-off, What Am I Chewing? Which is a food-based show. We have Jordan Polan-Clarke. Hello, Jordan.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us to talk about this movie that you and I and Joe all adore so much.
I've been waiting for this for a really long time.
You like this movie?
This is my favorite one.
Okay. It's an easy one. It's an easy one to love, so. I never like pull guests if they like it or not, so it's a mixed bag. Sometimes somebody comes on, they're like, I hate this one. Like, fair. Whatever it works.
How could you...
No, not
First
this
of all,
one
you're
specifically.
wrong if you hate any of these. No, you're wrong if you hate any of these.
Well, talk to Chris
Some of them are
Podcast.
better than other ones, but
Yeah.
it's... No, you can't.
So now, Jordan, have you seen all 8?
Yes.
Can you, not to put pressure on you, I guess this is also something, Joe, that we should start telling guests before.
To think about.
Can you rank them, or even if you can't rank them, can you put the ones that you like more?
Oh, absolutely. No, I can rank them.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
go for it.
I like the
I just don't want to
authority.
put you on the spot, because it's sometimes a lot of pressure for people.
I gotta think probably a little bit.
Go ahead.
But,
Take your
so,
time.
Best to worst, whatever you want. You got time.
You want me to do best to worst? Let's go. Okay. So best is 6.
Okay.
For me, it goes 6, 7, 5,
Okay.
Okay.
4,
Okay.
8, probably 3, 1, 2.
Okay.
Wow.
So you're pretty in line with me. I think the difference is I would probably swap like 8 and 3, but you are definitely in line with me. Joe likes some of the earlier ones more than
I
I
do.
do.
They have some
but-
nostalgia factor for me, so.
But you are definitely on board with me, Jordan, in terms of like when they crank up the action, it gets real good.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, is it okay if I go into my history right now?
Oh no, absolutely.
That's our next question. Yeah, go ahead.
Great. Okay, here we go. I listened to How Did This Get Made is one of my favorite podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And they did the 5th one, and I was like, whatever. Didn't mean anything to me. It was a good podcast. Never thought about it again.
Wait, Jordan, do we have the same history with
the same
we might have
story.
the same history with
It's the
Fast and
same
Furious.
Right. So when they got to the 6th one,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like I feel ready to do this. I decided that I was going to watch the first 5 like in a row. Like I watched them all in one day essentially.
Wow.
It might have been 2 days, but what happened was I was dumb. I didn't know anything back then about these movies. So I was like illegally downloading them to watch them.
Terrible idea, but okay.
I accidentally, for some reason, I thought that Fast and Furious was the first one.
Okay.
Can you blame me?
No. I mean, the naming structure is a little. So we talked about this on the last
the
episode.
worst
We were like,
one.
that one should be Fast and Furious. That's what we decided,
Yeah.
but it's not.
But so I started that movie and watched like 20 minutes of it before I was like, This is not the first movie.
This can't be the first one, yeah.
I am very confused. So then I realized, and then I started over. But so yeah, I watched all 5 in a very short period of time, which is a very weird thing to do. Puts you in a real weird mindset. And then I saw the 6th one. And then after that, I was like very hooked.
Oh, I do want to mention my movie history with Jordan. The first time, so I met Jordan in college, and
We had to have told this story before on
not
some
on this podcast. Maybe I
no,
don't
on
know.
some
We told it
podcast.
I don't know if it's been on a podcast.
On
Okay.
Greatest Showman, I think. But go ahead.
So the first time I ever hung out with Jordan, I was a sophomore and you were a junior, I think,
Ooh.
right? And you had just transferred to Ramapo, and we met in a class and hit it off. And you came over to watch Wild at Heart. Was it?
Yep.
And
actually, I don't know the story.
Jordan,
Go ahead.
Jordan comes over, and we're watching the movie, and then she, about halfway through the movie, just curls into a little ball.
Oh God,
at
I
the
didn't
foot of
even
my
make
bed.
it halfway.
And it was very early, and just curls into a little ball and just falls asleep at the foot of my bed like a little puppy. And
Perfect.
the movie ends,
Yeah.
and she wakes up and she's like, "Okay, bye." And it was the same. Basically, I think Jordan, I might have told you this, that like it's the same story I kind of had with Payson.
Yep.
When Payson, who has not been on this podcast yet, who might be at some point, I don't know, another one of our friends from college who I lived with for 2 years. The first time I ever hung out with him one-on-one, he came over, watched a movie, and then as soon as the movie ended, it was like, well, bye, and then just rolled his chair away. And like,
Dope.
these two people became really good friends. But then we took things to the next level when Jordan and I saw Wild at Heart in the theater, and you made it through the entire movie awake.
Wow.
But the funniest thing I think that you've ever said to me, Jordan, is you were so happy one day when you came up to me, you were like, I don't fall asleep in movies anymore. And that you were so proud that you could stay awake through an entire movie, or 5 or 6 movies in a day. And I was just so overjoyed that you were able to make it through an entire movie, because we would hang out a lot in college and, in group settings or whatever, and you would fall asleep every time we watched a movie.
It's true. I would fall asleep
Every
every time. I've seen the beginning and credits of a lot of really bad movies from college.
Yeah.
I have this thing with Rachel where she likes to be like, no, I'm awake, and I'm like, can we watch another episode of this? And then she falls asleep, so I just leave her downstairs now. Yeah, you can just sleep here. That's
My parents will watch a lot of TV shows, and they'll both fall asleep while watching the show, and then the next day have to catch up on well, where because they all fall asleep at different times, where I don't remember this, but one was like, no, I remember this, well, yeah, but you fall asleep during different points, so
Yeah.
it's a thing that afflicts us all, I think. But
But to be fair, in college, we were always watching a movie at 2 o'clock in the morning on a
true.
Friday night.
fair, yeah.
It was kind of normal that I was sleepy.
we would start hanging out at 7, and then we would play Rock Band for a couple hours, play charades for a
We
couple
played
hours,
charades
hang
for a
out,
couple hours.
and then it was 12:30 or 1, and it'd be like, okay, cool, it's movie time. We're like, all right, I guess this is gonna happen now. And then we would somehow most of the time, me and Payson, I think Payson was better at it than I was, but he would stay awake and watch these terrible movies, and then we would drive back to campus at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
because that's what time it was over. So
Amen. College
God
life.
bless college kids.
Yeah, I wish I could do that
I
now.
miss the charades times.
I miss the charades times
I
too.
cannot get anybody I know excited about charades. And I just keep being like, no, you don't understand. It's a good game.
It's a really good game, and especially if you make it real difficult to the
Yeah.
point where you absolutely alienate new people to the group.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the part they don't like.
So one thing that this is again nothing to do with the show, but it just reminds me. I've been doing the New York Times crossword a lot lately, and there's a clue often in the New York Times crossword that's related to the Lord of the Rings, and it's always Ent, E-N-T.
Yeah,
it's
the trees that talk.
a creature of Middle Earth.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I ever heard that was in a game of charades where I had to act out Treebeard the Ent, and it was before I had seen the Lord of the Rings movies. I was like, what the fuck is this? And Ent sounds like everything, but no one would ever think that it just is Ent.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know who or what this is. That was the level of bullshit that we had to deal with. I still can't do syllables.
But that's... You want to talk about oil?
Joe, is oil 1 syllable or 2 syllables?
1.
No.
No, it's 2. I think it's 2.
Oh, you're on my side now?
I don't know. I just I think I'm on your side because I just have this memory of you standing in front of everybody and going oil, clapping your hands.
Yeah.
It's 1 syllable. Oil's 1 syllable.
I think it's 2.
Oil.
Oil.
I get the
Oil.
argument for 1, but you could say any word just quickly and it just becomes one syllable. But you could do like anything like that, and it's
Okay.
but
Nice
yeah,
tangent.
that's that.
Oil
But
was
yeah, we
appropriate
have,
though, because we're talking about Fast and the Furious.
Ooh, very, very appropriate.
Yeah. Write in.
Tune-up.
Let us know if you think oil is one syllable or two.
Family at Cage Club.
This is important.
Yeah.
This is important. This is one of it's not a fight that we had, but this is one of the biggest disagreements
We
we've
need to
ever
make
had.
a poll on
and
the
this
Facebook
happened.
page. Like, is oil one syllable or two? And see if anybody
Yeah.
replies.
Actually, while we do this, I'm going to put on at Cage Club Pod on Twitter. For podcast purposes, we have a debate. Is
Live. Ongoing live debate.
oil one syllable or two?
Oil was really the only ever fight that happened, except like Electric Antelope caused some rule changes. There were like a lot of things that caused permanent rule changes,
Yes.
but oil was like the only like unsettled fight to this day.
Fair. Well, we're going to solve it.
It is out there. So when we get back to Twitter at the end of the show, Joe, we will have to look for this and see what's going on. Okay, back to the interview of Jordan.
Your first time seeing 6, you saw 6 in theaters.
I saw 6 in theaters.
Okay.
How It's Getting Made did 5, 6, 7, and 8. So when they announced they were doing 6, you're like, okay, I'm going to go see this in theaters.
Yeah.
Did you watch it before 1 through 5, or you saw 1 through 5 and then you saw this?
No, I saw 1 through 5 so
Okay.
that I could go see 6.
Gotcha.
Okay, makes sense.
And I think you and I had the same reaction to the credit scene in this, where we both probably stood up
And like
in
yelled.
the theater and yelled. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
This is the best.
Absolutely.
This is hands down the best Fast and the Furious credit scene, I think.
When I watch it now, I cry every time because I really like Han,
Yeah.
and I'm just like so angry every time. And like, but like it's like in rapid succession, like Giselle, Han, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, we could have
know.
kept one of them
So
alive,
upsetting.
but I mean, Han had to die. He was already dead. So
He was already
Do you know about the internet movement? I'm sure you could deduce what it is if you don't. Justice for Han.
No.
So Justice for Han is a group of people who do not like that Jason Statham is basically a member of the family now because he killed Han and
That's
he got a
true.
pass.
That's
Yeah.
true.
yeah, so there's a whole movement behind that. You should go check it out if you maybe feel the same way.
Which I love Jason Statham. I'm happy that he's in these movies now, but I also do really love Han, and I wish that he was around too. So.
Well, and it's like, I mean, but that happens a lot in these movies where, like, are they good or are they bad? Like, I don't know.
It's true.
Is Letty
All of
alive or is she
them.
dead? Who knows?
I don't know.
It's a real Schrodinger's cat of Letty in this movie.
It is.
Have you seen all of them? Like in terms of like how often you've seen them? Have you seen this one the most?
Yeah, definitely.
Like I guess how many times have you seen them? And just in terms of like coming into this, Joe had seen all the movies so many times, and I've only seen each like once or twice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How familiar are you with these? Just the movies, this one specifically, but all the movies on a whole.
It's pretty mixed. Like, the
Okay.
first one I've probably only seen once.
Yeah, that's why it was so low in your rankings. There's no nostalgia factor for you.
No, that definitely not.
Okay.
The second one I've probably seen like 2.5 times.
Okay.
Tokyo Drift I've probably seen like 3 or 4 times. Fast and Furious I've probably seen like 3 times.
Plus the half the time that you saw it the first time.
Yeah.
You thought it was
that's
number
true.
one.
The 20 minutes of that intro, yeah.
What's the 5th one called?
Fast 5.
I've seen Fast 5 probably 4 times. I've seen the 6th one probably 5 or 6 times. The 7th one like 4 times, and the 8th one like twice maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
Side note: have you ever seen the Onion video?
Yes.
The Onion News Network video where the kid was just like, "I make the cars go fast."
They interviewed a screenwriter of Fast and
He's
Furious,
5?
and
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
like a 5-year-old kid.
Yeah, he's like,
That was like the heyday of the Onion News Network. That video is awesome.
they was like, and then it goes vroom, and then the other one vroom, and then he's like, they're like, wow, so
wonderful.
insightful.
that was like when I think that was when the 5th one came out.
Yeah, that was awesome. I forgot about that.
Is that Today Now? Is that the
It was
TV
Today
show?
Now, and I
Yeah.
knew there's like I used to intern there, and so then I knew a lot of people who worked there.
What, at the Onion?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that.
And like I just worked there. I interned there when they were like at their peak, and like they were
Wow.
just like
I'm jealous.
making like such good work. When the people that I know were still there, and like my friends still worked there when that got made. There's like several Onion News Network videos that just like live in my soul, and like that's one of them.
Now I think you've told me, maybe even on the podcast before, that like a lot of your job at the Onion would be just like they'd be like, we need car clips or whatever. You have to go watch a
Yeah.
bunch of things to pull things. Did you ever have to watch these movies for that or no?
No, I was gone by the time they made this.
Oh, okay.
Mine was mostly when I was there. It was a lot of like it was during the 2000 2008 election or like right before it. So they were doing a lot of political segments then.
Makes sense. Very cool, though. I didn't know that, and that makes me extremely jealous. All of our guests are super talented and have fun backstories I sometimes know nothing about, so.
Well, that's part of why podcasting is fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get to just like talk to people.
Different strokes, different folks. Now, Jordan, before we get into talking about this movie, we've got some either or. We call it the lightning round of questions. These are there's no wrong answer, just one or the other. The exciting thing is that not all of our guests have seen all the movies, but since you have,
It should be a little bit
you'll be able
better.
to answer
yeah.
all of these questions.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Yeah.
Again, no wrong answers. This is sort of like on Foodie Films, another show on the network. Gut instincts, just like whatever comes to your heart first, that's the answer. Just go with it.
Okay.
Just trust yourself.
Okay.
Are you more of a Dom or a Brian?
Brian.
Okay.
Are you more of a Mia or a Letty?
Letty.
Okay.
I just hate Mia.
Oh.
But Mia's mom.
You're in
like,
this
Mia
camp?
is like the den mother.
I just.
It's okay. You're
We
allowed
can
to.
talk about it later.
There's no,
You're allowed to
there's
hate her.
no
Yeah, no,
wrong
We'll
that's-
talk about it later.
Are you a Roman or a Tej?
Roman.
Yeah, we have a lot of Romans around here.
Are you okay? This is a little bit difficult because of their ever wavering alliances. Are you a Deckard Shaw or are you an Owen Shaw? Are you a Luke Evans from this movie or are you a Jason Statham?
Jason Statham.
Okay. American Muscle or imports?
American Muscle.
Damn.
That is like the one question, Joe, where like it's overwhelmingly
Against me.
American Muscle.
Yeah.
You're the only person so far who's picked imports. Although Tobin and Island picked pickup trucks and Jeeps, basically writing in short answers for
I also don't
either
really
or.
give a shit about cars at all.
Well, yeah, no,
but
that's the same thing as me. Like, that's why we love the same movies in this franchise, I think.
I like the stunts in this. I don't care what the
Yeah.
cars are.
Yeah.
I like what they do with them.
Fair.
Corona or Belgian Ale?
Belgian ale.
Uncommon, but fair. Oh, actually, so here's a little side tangent. There is a new Mexican restaurant that just opened in my town. I have not gone there yet because it just opened this past week, and I'm going to go next week.
Okay.
They put out the menu online. I want you to guess how much a bottle of Corona costs, and I also want you to guess how much 2 tacos cost. And maybe I tell you the price of one to get you to guess the other, but both numbers make me real mad.
Are they high or
Could you
low?
explain?
It's a Mexican restaurant. I think it's like a tequila joint.
Okay.
I've never been there.
Corona $6, 2 tacos, $7.50.
Jordan, do you have any guesses? Again, there's no context, just blind
I
guesses.
think Corona $5, 2 tacos $10.
So both of you are closer to one of them, and both of you are still under. Corona $6.50,
Damn.
2 tacos $12.
How is that even a possibility?
Don't know. They better be massive tacos. That's all I'm saying. This is also
Yeah,
a place.
right. They better be like for real. Like you could just get 2 tacos and be full, but that's not usually how tacos are.
That's like mini burritos. Like that's like some like hybrid between taco and burrito.
Or like, do
I
they
don't
come
know.
with something else?
I don't
inside?
know. It doesn't
It's just
seem like it.
tacos.
We have a nice Hispanic community in New Haven, and there's like a lot of taquerias. It's always like you get 4 for like $7 or $8 or something. Like maybe they're like $2 each. That's crazy to me. $12.
Yeah, like I came from living in Austin, where you could get, like gourmet tacos were like $4 or $5, but like just like a regular taco,
Torchies,
was yeah. So I'm gonna find out what this is, but like when I saw $6.50 for a Corona, I was like, get the fuck out of here, like
For a Mexican restaurant, seriously, yeah.
yeah, Jesus.
I was gonna say that's as bad as the restaurant that Rachel used to work at. It was like
Yeah.
it was like that expensive for shit. Yeah, crazy.
Jordan, are you a racer or are you a designer? Are you the one in the car or sort of like the support team, the ones behind the scenes?
I'm in the car.
Oh, all right, you and Liam. Okay. This is one from the last movie. At the end of Fast Five, if you remember, Rico and Tego, the twins, when they each get their cut, like the $9 million or whatever, the $11 million, they go to that casino, and they bet it all. One bets it all on black, one bets it all on red.
Ooh.
Would you bet it all on black, or would you bet it all on red?
Red.
Damn.
Okay.
I would always go black.
So
I
now,
don't know
Joe,
why.
do we have a question for this movie?
Would you jump into a plane with a car or out of a plane with a car?
Out of a plane with a car?
Fair.
As long as I could definitely know that I was not going to die.
Well, I mean, you got a parachute on it. It's cool. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it.
Joe, what I like about that question,
What?
and Jordan, we're going to get to this later, is that it reminds me of the which character are you? Because I don't know what the answer means either way.
Exactly.
Like, it's just a vague question that, like, could mean... It's like, it's open to interpretation.
Exactly.
Jordan, at the end of the episode, we are going to play which Fast and Furious character are you?
And a
Okay.
lot of the questions just don't make sense. They don't.
Oh, it's an online quiz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're all just like, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't know how this impacts anything, but it's a question. So I like that. Like, that's a great...
You liked it? Good.
question for the show. On its own as a question, it's whatever, but like within the context of what we're doing here, I think it's perfect. So that's good.
I'm glad you like it. I just came up with that one, so
Yeah, it's
enjoy.
good. So Fast and Furious 6, here we are. This is the second time we've talked about this movie. Jordan, before we get into it, we do a thing when we remember to do a thing. If you had to pick a moment, what would you say is the most family moment in this movie? The moment or the action or the line or the scene that most defines what this franchise has established as family?
I got a good one. Do you want me to go first?
First of all, I have to tell you that I counted the number of times that they said the word family in this movie.
Okay.
But I forgot to do it for the first 15 minutes.
So you missed 35.
I might have missed some, but I got to 11.
Okay.
All right. Jordan, there is, I don't know if I shared with you, I think we put it on social media a while ago, but maybe just once. Bloomberg, very important news outlet Bloomberg, before Fate of the Furious came out, put out a thing called Stats of the Furious, where they counted instances at the times people say family, Corona sips,
Flexes,
hugs,
everything.
I love
Everything.
gear shifts, all that sort of stuff. So,
Did they count how many civilians die?
no, but that number definitely increases as
by
the
the way,
series
this
goes
is the
on.
first
Absolutely.
movie that we see them concerned about civilians, I think.
I thought maybe that this was also the first one where you see civilians run away and scatter.
No.
No?
No, because in Tokyo Drift, he drifts right through the civilians.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
I noticed it in this one. All right.
Well, because also, in this movie, Letty's like, "What are you doing? This isn't part of the plan." And Shaw is just like, "Whatever, I'm just gonna drive over cars
I'm just
in
gonna
my
be
tank."
the worst. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think this is the only one where they're in 5, they just kill pretty much every cop in Brazil.
Yes. But also, like what was saying that they have some APB go out yeah, we evacuated the area. You don't have to worry about anything. It's just just that one little background note is just oh no, I feel good about them just destroying downtown Rio because no people are there. It's fine.
Yeah, but in this one, Dom's what is he doing? Make sure you save the people, the random civilians
Yeah.
from the tank. And I was oh yeah, they do care about civilians for 3 seconds.
But they totally don't a bunch of other times.
Exactly.
Right.
In this same movie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
We took a detour.
Most and least family moment. This is not something that we talked about before that we're putting you on the spot. This is something we're going to talk about for the first time here.
You want somebody else to go
Joe,
first?
if you have one, you can go.
You can go first. You go first.
This is a little bit of a deep cut, but the most family moment is when Roman leaves a plane full of beautiful women as soon as Dom calls him. That's the most family thing you can do. It's Roman who loves beautiful women. He has a whole plane full of them. They're going to have the best night of his life. Dom calls and he's I'm out. Sorry, ladies. I gotta go. My bro called. He needs me.
But here are some vouchers for that buffet at the resort I was telling you about.
Exactly.
That's a pretty good one.
I'm going to tell you what my first instinct was, and then I'm going to tell you what I actually think mine is.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So first I was okay, it's the end where they're all together again.
Yeah.
But I actually think it's kind of weird that Letty still doesn't remember anything. They're oh, do you remember anything? How does it feel? And she's nope, but it feels like home. I think that's weird. So never mind.
It is really strange. I agree. He's I erased your memory back into you, but do you remember it? And she's nah, but this feels okay.
I feel concerned for her.
Yeah, I
She's
don't hate
very
it.
alone in the world. She should be kind of worried. I don't know.
You know what I realized this time? We always knew that it was always awkward. They even make a note of it in the movie that when Tej and Roman are talking to each other that Elena shows up to the house, right? That she's there with The Rock
Yeah.
and she's this is my family, the police are my family.
And Letty doesn't know about Elena.
No, but what we don't know in this movie, but we know after the fact, is that at that time, Elena's pregnant.
With
Yeah.
Dom's
She's
child.
showing up to their house with Dom's baby in her belly.
A belly full of Dom.
Ew.
What?
That's gross.
That's that adds even more complication. Whether or not she knows she's pregnant, it's just this extra wrinkle. You were in a way a replacement, but you've also been replaced. Oh, my original girlfriend is not. She remembers me now,
Exactly.
so we're good. She's not dead anymore. So
Yeah.
that's a tough scene.
Good. What's your actual most...
So, for reasons that I can't understand, Paul Walker goes back to Los Angeles, finds out what really happened to Letty and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then he comes back. He, has this guilt because he thinks it's his fault.
Well, it was. I mean, we had this argument last time.
It was
but
his fault.
It's
No, it was
his fault. Yeah.
But by that time, Letty is, on their side again. I really like that, or I think it's very family-like that all of them are look, you had to find that out for yourself, and I don't care. Like, you don't need to tell me about it. That was for you. Like, it's in the past. It's all fine.
What was? Brian?
Yeah, like, because he, like, had this guilt, and he wanted to, like, tell them all that it was his fault.
And why it happened and what happened.
Yeah, and both Dom and Letty were just kind of like, look, dude, it doesn't matter.
When we talked about this, I think in the first lap show, I said that this a very Matrix thing, that, like, after Neo goes to the Oracle, and he finds out he's, quote, not the one, and he wants to tell Morpheus, he's like, I have this news, and he's like,
doesn't matter.
Look, what you know is for you alone, and like that's your thing. Like we're still good, and I think it's a really powerful thing that, like, you know, I get that you have some shit that you want to get off your chest, but like we love you no matter what it is. Like we have a job to do.
Yeah.
But also, like, they could let him get it off his chest.
Oh sure,
Like,
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
That's what Mia's for. He should go talk to her.
No, he shouldn't. She's the worst.
So I have a
Yours.
thing that we have not mentioned yet, which is sort of an obvious one, but it's not going to be my answer. The obvious one I thought of is the very, very opening of this movie, where Dom and Brian are racing to Mia giving birth, and it's literal family being built out, being created, right? And it's like Dom saying, you know, you better be a good dad or I'm going to kick your ass if you're not. You know, it's just like this support system for baby Jack that, you know, he's got not only great parents, but also an uncle, some aunt, whether it's going to be Elena or it's going to be Letty. And just this extended family. Like, it's a great little thing for him to grow up in, and I think it's just like a great moment.
I agree with you, but also I forgot that that's how this movie started. I was like, wait, that's how this movie starts?
Well,
It's a
because
really
the last
weird
movie
beginning.
ends with Dom and Brian going for a race, like because Dom let up on the gas when they were racing through Rio in the cop cars, because he wanted to give Brian the money because he knew that Mia was pregnant. And so they're like, we need to have one more race to see who's best. And so, like, that movie ends with the race. So I think that you think that this is maybe that race, like you see like the actual like results of that.
Oh, like it's, yeah. Okay.
But it's actually that they're racing to the hospital, which made me wonder, do they ever carpool?
No. Everybody
they
drives
would
their
never
own car.
agree on which car to take or who gets to drive, so...
But we've had this thought before, too. Why doesn't everybody just take one car for, like, a lot of places? It makes no sense. Like, that's such a terrible thing for the environment. Like, why do we need to drive 75 cars to everyone go to one? And they're leaving from the same place. And they pull out just like 7 cars. It's like, okay, cool, we could have done 2.
Because what's a little weird is at the end of the movie, when they're doing when they're on the world's longest runway, right?
Yeah.
God, it just goes forever.
Han and Giselle are in a car, and like and Hobbs is driving, you know, Roman and Tej. Like, they're kind of carpooling there, but like that's the kind of the time where you want everybody to have their own car, because you want more cars to weigh it down, right? Like,
And then they can all have, like, things to do, you know?
yeah.
No, but you need a passenger that can shoot.
Sometimes it is really useful in these movies when they have a passenger, because they, like, just
Jump
there's
out of
something
the
they
car,
can't do
jump into
themselves,
the
yeah, because
car.
they're driving.
Yeah, exactly.
There are reasons.
When 4 starts, like they're doing the heist and stuff, like
Yeah.
for heists, I feel like you need 2 in a car, but I do wonder, you know, maybe think about carpooling more.
That's the next movie. It's just all of them driving around in a minivan.
Brian does drive a minivan in one, remember?
Yeah, in the next movie, you know, when we think he's racing, but he's actually just pulling into his son's daycare or whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's like letting up on the gas or whatever to go to inch forward. But my actual pick for most family moment is in that final action scene on the world's longest runway when Giselle sacrifices herself to save Han.
That leads perfectly into my least family pick.
Well, a couple times in this movie, Han saves Giselle. Like, he tackles her out of the way of the sniper. When they're running away from the tank, he, like, knocks the guy so he can swerve the car out of the way so she doesn't get clipped by that other car.
Yeah.
And so this whole movie has been him, one way or another, saving
Protecting her, yeah.
Here, she makes the ultimate sacrifice, you know, ride or die. She chooses to die, but she chooses to die so that Han can live, go to Tokyo, have a life, and then get brutally murdered by Jason Statham.
Joey, I told you about Ride or Die, but I'm gonna...
Yes.
Tell me.
Talk about it, yes, please.
I'm gonna tell everybody. I watched this movie with a circus friend.
Well,
Circus.
talk about what you do, because like this podcast does not listen to other podcasts.
Okay,
so,
I
so
do
just saying a
circus.
circus friend, people aren't going to know what that means.
I train circus most days for my life. Like, that's what I do
Train
with my life.
circus.
You do
And
that circus.
and I teach circus.
Teach circus.
Like, my main things that I do right now are flying trapeze, handstands,
It's crazy.
and partnering on trampoline.
Partnering on trampoline.
So I watched this with a circus friend, who had watched 4 and 5 with me before. So
Okay.
I was like, you gotta watch 6.
I think this might be the most circus one. With the, like, into the plane, out of the plane, like, on the car.
That's part of why I like these movies so much. Is like, I can really, because of, like, what I do, I can really appreciate good stunts.
Yeah.
And, like, fun and, like, creative stunts. So, like, that's why I like these. Because I'm always impressed, and it always gets better.
Like, The Rock just, like, flying squirrel out of the like, his car, down to, like, the flip car underneath it. Yeah, like, that's crazy stuff.
But so we were just, like, talking about the movie after we watched it, and I was like, I'm going to start to say ride or die before, like, every hard trip that we do, right?
You just lock eyes,
and we
just ride
totally,
or die.
Yeah, and we totally do, and it totally helps,
Yeah, you gotta get on the
it.
same page. Family. I get it.
He's my flying trapeze catcher, so it's like he can't really yell it when we're catching, but he's like, just imagine I'm saying it every time. Okay.
I love it.
It's good.
My least familial moment this time watching it is when Giselle's clearly dead, and then they, like, pull up, Han's, like, in tears, and they're like, where's Giselle?
It takes them, like, 5 minutes to say where's Giselle also.
Yeah, like, everybody's, like, quiet knowing that Giselle is obviously like, everything exploded. Like, there's no way she's coming out of this. And they're just like, where's Giselle?
This gets into a larger problem for me about how the women are treated in this. But
Go
it's
for
like,
it.
because there's, like, a moment right before this where Dom has not appeared yet. Is that right?
Okay.
It's
Yes.
not Brian,
Yeah.
it's Dom, right?
Yeah, Dom comes out of the plane. He, like, jumps through.
Right,
the
and so
plane.
there's a moment where you're like, Dom's not here. And then he, like, explodes out of the plane. It's, like, big and glorious, and everyone's like, oh, boy, he's alive. Okay. And they're, like, celebrating that he's alive so hard that they don't even notice that Giselle is dead for, like, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel that that's generally how the women in this movie are, in all these movies, are treated.
I agree. I don't think that's I don't think that's an incorrect reading. I just think in the same sort of weird sense that she was a bad guy a couple movies ago, and I think she's kind of like almost like a lesser family member, not because she's a woman, but just because she's new.
Yeah.
Not that I would want to see this, but I wonder how they would have treated it, like if Mia was the one who died. You know what I mean? Because she's core family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but no, I wish that people cared about her more.
I wish that she was written better.
Giselle?
No, not just. Oh, I was talking about Mia.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Well, I mean, I wish they were all written better.
What do you think about the way Giselle's written? Because we talked about this in the last episode with Walt Hickey, where he said, he gives Gal Gadot so much props because the character has, like, no personality, no traits to her at all, and the fact that, like,
she's
she
like
is
Mossad.
memorable in any way
I
is
agree.
because
I
Gal
agree with
Gadot
that.
is, like, incredible in that role.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I mean, and that can be said, I think, about any woman in these movies. Besides maybe Letty, they give Letty a little bit more to work with.
The other weird thing, this is something we talk about a lot, is, like, how little of these movies, all in all, Letty's actually in. Like, she's not in 2, she's not in 3, she dies, like, 20 minutes into the 4, she's not in 5.
Yeah.
She's bad in this one. Like, Letty, for being such a core character to the series, is really, not in these movies a ton. I mean, when she's in them, but, like, there's a lot of these movies where she's just not in.
Yeah, for serious.
That's true for all the women except for Mia, who is also barely in this one.
Yeah, she's not really in this one. She gets kind of skipped out of 8, too. They, like, mention that they were going to call her, but then they don't.
Well, that's because Paul Walker died, and she's off.
She's
living
still
her
his
life.
sister.
I think so. She's going to be back for the future movies. I think that they've confirmed that. But I don't mind her not in 8 because they're like, we don't want to disturb them. We said that we weren't going to bother them. Like, I think that there's enough of an explanation there. I wonder, and I don't have any research for this because Jordan, we don't do any research for this until we're saving it all for a lap where we straight up don't have things to talk about. I wonder if, because in the next movie, like, The Rock is barely in it because he was off filming another movie, right? Like, he had a contract, like a conflict, a scheduling conflict or whatever. I wonder if Jordana Brewster, the actress, has some kind of conflict for this movie because, like, it almost feels like weirdly that she's not in a ton of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Again, we don't know. That might just be a sort of a vague defense of a thing that's not true, but
well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like you have these like core dudes who are in. Well, not really. Paul Walker is the only one who's in everyone except Tokyo Drift. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Generally, there's like a core group of dudes that by the 4th or 5th one, they're all there.
Yeah.
And there's not one woman who sticks around.
And they killed
Yeah.
off like the only one that was like had some promise besides Letty,
Yeah,
right?
she was great.
Yeah.
She was great, and they killed her.
Yeah, it happens.
She had to go be Wonder Woman.
Exactly.
Which she's doing more good to the world there anyway. but
Much better. No.
Don't get me started on that.
I will not. Well, I feel like now, like in the later movies, now that Ramsey's around, like I feel like, you know, Ramsey's sort of their answer, but like also Ramsey's kind of like a really sort of flat, one-dimensional character. Like she's just like the hacker who's
Cute
also
hacker.
the one, like the object of their affection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have issues
Well, yeah,
with
it's
that.
like you have to ask yourself, like, would this character work if they were not super hot?
I don't think that works for either male or female in these
I
movies.
think
Yeah.
that's, well, yeah, maybe that's true.
If Paul Walker wasn't dreamy, like you lose like half the jokes that anybody makes at him throughout
That's
the movies.
true. And Tyrese, I mean, like, half of the reason why I love these movies is because I want to watch Tyrese smile. You
Yeah.
know?
Exactly.
Like, he's
Same.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this before, and my brain was immediately like, yeah, but is Vin Diesel good looking? I know I'm not asking the right crowd. I don't think.
yes.
I think so.
I don't.
I mean, he's obviously
He's not
in,
my type.
he's in fantastic shape.
Yeah.
Got a
sure.
rockin' bod for sure. I think if I was
Keeping
a
it right
woman,
and also tight.
I think that I would take Vin Diesel. I like his voice. I like his large muscles.
Over Brian, over Roman, over Tej?
No, definitely not. But like, I wouldn't be like he's unattractive
On his own.
Yeah.
Yes. Jordan, you have a pick for least family moment?
I mean, I do think it's the Giselle thing.
Joey, you
I
got
mean,
one?
there's one that jumps to my mind,
Go
but
ahead.
I don't want to use this as my answer because she's only in this movie. But like when Gina Carano turns heel and goes with Shaw, like that's a real blow.
Yeah, that is. I thought about that too,
Yeah.
but that's a cheap out. So
I'm trying to think of a family, like a core family member doing something sort of feels to betray who they are.
let's we can come back to it. We can talk about the
can come
movie.
back to it.
Jordan, you like this movie.
I like this movie.
What makes you like this movie? What were some things
I just think
that were about it?
I just think that, like, at this point, they realized what they had,
Mhm.
and they just, like, went for it hard, and it makes it so fun.
the action,
I-
the wackiness.
Yeah. Like, I squee with joy a lot of times during this movie.
Like what parts?
The first time The Rock is, like, interrogating that guy.
The fake
And
Vin
he's just,
Diesel?
like,
British
Yeah,
Dom.
the fake Vin Diesel, and he's just, like, literally picking him up and throwing him into concrete walls that are breaking.
Yeah.
I'm like celebrating the whole time that he's doing that. It's just so ridiculous. It's so silly.
You like the gratuitous violence.
The guy outside asking Gina Carano, "Is this legal?" And she's like, "No." But are you going to go on there and stop him? Like, even like the movie. That's like the movie saying, like, you know, we know this is crazy, but like, I mean, it's The Rock. Like, what do you
But,
what
like,
do you
let's
expect
go,
The Rock
yeah.
to do? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I like that Roman is a putz.
I love Roman. I think he's one of my favorite
Yeah.
characters. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he gets better over the series.
Thank you.
Do you like him in 8?
What does he do in 8?
He's maximum Roman.
So here's my problem with 8. I mean, I have a lot of problems with 8 as a movie in different ways. My problem with Roman is that, like, here he's still mostly a character. Like, I feel like in 4 and 5, he is, like, he has morals in a way. Like, he has things that he believes in. He has tenets that he believes and he abides in. In 8, he's just, like, he's always the punchline. Like, it doesn't feel
Yeah.
like a character. It feels like a caricature.
Yeah, I do remember that. But they all kind of are that.
I
by
feel
that
like
point.
Yeah, but I feel like I don't know why I have a problem with him. Maybe there's just more of him. I don't know, but
It is a Roman movie. 8 is definitely a Roman movie for sure.
what else do you love? What other moments aside from The Rock throwing guys into walls?
I have something. This is the first time I noticed something that plays into our The Rock might be our first gay character theory.
Oh,
Do you know about this theory or no, Jordan?
no.
So this is a Mike Manzi theory, a resident historian
Yes.
Mike Manzi theory. I have a moment here too in terms of I wonder if it's the same moment.
Maybe when they're like shopping for the cars. Is this it?
No.
Okay, so when they're shopping for the cars, because like now I'm watching these movies with the lens that The Rock might turn out to be our first gay character.
Sensuki.
Sensuki. Tej is like a car, like you have to take care of it, and like all of these things. And The Rock's like, kind of sounds like a marriage to me. And Tej is like, yeah, but a car won't take half your shit when it leaves or something like that. And The Rock's like, And like, so his disdain for marriage was interesting.
I don't think that means he's gay.
I don't think so
that would
either, but
lend
I'm saying,
credence to a theory that he's asexual.
Yeah, but
which
But
we
The
sort of
Rock
already
is
knew, though.
asexual in everything.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's part of the
Which I think was on How This Get Made. What was the episode?
Seth Rogen. You said.
Seth Rogen, yes, in Action Jackson, where Action Jackson was so asexual, like, and Seth Rogen compared him to The Rock.
Yep.
My thing, Joe, in this movie
Go ahead.
that I said, on This Weekend, is Luke Hobbs gay, is when he's talking to Gina Carano, once again paired with a attractive younger partner, right? Another one that he chose.
he kind of like picked because
Yep.
yeah, okay.
He meets her, he
On the
talks
bridge.
about her credentials,
Yeah.
they're together for a while. Then later in the movie, sort of maybe about halfway through, he says to her, "Badass and brains, woman, you keep that up, I'm going to be out of a job." Does not take the opportunity, like Roman or Tej, to be like, "Badass and brains, like, you're my ideal kind of woman." He sees it as
She could take
that
over
she's
for
a coworker.
him. Yeah.
That she is, that either this is like a he could be gay thing, he could be an asexual thing, but like sees her as an equal, as a peer, as someone who could replace him in his job, not like,
Wait,
oh,
you mean
look
like
how
he's
smart
like just
and
a
tough this
normal
woman
person?
is.
Which is
Yeah.
great, except he did it by calling her woman, which he does like a lot of times.
But that's like The Rock thing.
I
Like,
call-
that's just,
I call a lot
that's
of
not,
people
you
women.
Can't, that is not an excuse. You can't do that
Why?
anymore. You cannot address somebody by calling them woman.
Why not? No, I'm really curious because I do it a lot.
I think if you're like, maybe if you're friendly with someone and you like know that kind of thing maybe sits okay with them, you can do it. But I think now in 2018, in a huge franchise movie like this, like, men cannot talk to women that way.
now, Jordan, does this take into effect man-woman scenes?
No, because like man-woman scene has nothing to do with the language.
Okay.
Because if you're calling me woman, you're using that as the number one identifier about who I am, and that is the
okay.
last way that I want you to identify me.
Fair. No problem. That's what this is what
it
I was
is.
getting to. I just wanted to know
Yeah.
what your reasoning was, and
No,
that makes sense.
It's a good question, and thank you for making me clarify it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get to that point, and yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Because they do have a rapport in this movie, but they are not at the point where like that can be an established, like, this is something you can say to me. Like, I agree with you there, Jordan. It's like they are clearly chummy and buddy, even though she's got an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
But they've also only known each other for maybe a couple days, and I feel like it is too early, especially in the guise of what you're saying. Yeah.
Maybe in real life you have a relationship with someone where it's okay.
Would
No.
girl have worked if he was like, damn,
No, that's-
girl,
that's
like,
like-
you could come take my job?
No,
No,
That's worse.
we don't want to be identified by our gender.
that's fair. That's why I was trying to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah. No, it's a good question.
I call Rachel woman all the time, but
And lady.
And
call her lady a lot.
lady, woman, like a lot. But I mean,
But you're also married.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, which I assume is fine with her, and that's okay.
Yeah. She's never gotten upset about it.
It's like it's important to notice it and to call it out in something like this.
Amen.
Because this is
Yeah.
like a movie that not everybody, but it's a movie that millions of people are going to see.
Millions,
and we
yeah.
can't pretend like that doesn't affect anything.
No, exactly.
Right.
That's why these are things that we don't catch, and that we love when somebody else brings up.
I just saw it as like a not a quirk, but like a weird rock thing.
It sounded
where
like
he's
Buddy, right? It's just like, hey,
No,
bud.
but that's the thing is, like,
It's
if you
not.
think about it, like, yeah, like, it's so much more than that. And if you just be like, oh, it's a thing that this guy's like, you're just making an excuse for it, you know?
Amen.
Like, who cares how he meant it? It doesn't matter. It's what it sounds like.
No, I agree. It's just nothing I ever thought about.
That is the thing that The Rock says in like a lot of things, though, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
or no?
I
I
think
don't
so.
think I've
But
never
that's like,
thought of it
I
before.
wonder, like, will he still talk like that in the new ones?
I don't know. We're heading in the right direction with these. So,
Something we talked about last episode, Joe, about The Rock that I specifically brought up is that, like, in the last movie, he's better here. Jordan, it feels like, especially in 5, they don't know what the character is yet.
yeah.
Like, they don't know what he's going to become, and he just sort of seems like this, like, strict, like, military guy. And here, he's sort of bridging into, like, more of an
personality.
less of a robot,
Yeah.
more of a personality.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this is sort of, as, not great as calling her woman is, I feel like it's a step in the right direction in as much as it's turning him into
A human.
like a human being and not just like a robot. Sure, should he have said something different? Yes, but it's not like, hello, military soldier,
Yeah.
female designation, like where it just could be
Yeah.
like,
it was
Yeah.
very
Just
robotic
something
at the
real-
beginning. I
yeah.
agree.
But it's like, a woman didn't write that line, you know?
For sure.
Oh no, 'cause
yeah.
I wonder if any woman has had input on any of these scripts.
I don't think so.
For some reason, first of all, they should get on that.
They should.
Sure.
I
Fast
agree.
and Furious, people who are listening, someone get on that. Bring in a female co-writer, bring in a non-binary co-writer, mix it up a little bit. For some reason, during the scene where they take all of that dude's clothes, only like a 12-year-old boy would write this like this.
Who did they take all? When did they take all of his clothes?
The auctioneer's clothes.
Oh.
When he delivers all the cars.
Yeah, that's very 12-year-old boyish, and I really like it. Like, I'm gonna need that shirt and those pants, and then you get to walk out in your underwear. Like, that's like the oldest joke in the book.
Yeah, I know, and I don't have a problem with it, but for some reason, like, that was my thought during that scene, is like, how would a woman have written this scene? Like, how would this be different right now?
Well, I just don't think it would have happened.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, it just wouldn't have been a thought. They'd have been like, this is really creepy. We should probably not include that.
Gender politics aside, or the writing process aside, I was wondering, is Roman going to get reimbursed for those, or does he just, like, own those cars? Because those cars are all going to get wrecked. Like, we see a lot of those cars
Tej?
get wrecked. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Tej, yeah, sorry.
You're bringing me into a great point, too. I think that he just spent his own money on it, knowing that they're going to get, like, some kind of money or freedom from this adventure. Also, he's a supercomputer hacker. Who knows? He could do whatever he wants at this point, so.
Well, he does, hack. They call him, he used to be Robin Hood, and then he, in the worst Spanish by any character in this entire series, when he's down in Miami, he, like, hacks the ATM to shoot out the dollar bills.
Yeah.
I guess he could have hacked or stolen that money. I don't know, but
How much money did they each get at the end of the last movie?
I think 9 or 11 million, maybe.
Yeah, I thought it was about 9 or 11 million. That sounds about right. I was going to say 8 when I first thought about it.
Because it was 100 million split however many ways, and I think it was either 9 or 11 people, so, it's either 9 million or 11 million each. So, like, it's a lot of money, but it's also not like you probably spent a couple $1 million maybe, or at least $1 million on all those cars.
Well, that's
he spent
what,
a lot of money.
Like, I remember, like, during one of the watchings of this movie being, like, upset. Okay, you have a lot of money, but, like, you don't have that money, and you can't work anymore, so, like, maybe stop with, like, the private jet and just, like, chill out a little bit.
The point of the wrecking the cars. This brings me to something that I noticed this watch through that I didn't catch before. In the first kind of flip car race scene situation that goes on, did you guys catch that essentially Tej and Roman die? Like, they get full-on civilianed. The EMP...
When it's first in his flip car?
Yes. When he's first in his flip car, Brian drives off his hockey puck. Is those hockey pucks? When Brian drives those off, Tej and Roman have, like, ridiculous crashes. Like, flip the car, drive into a wall, full speed, through a building. We just don't address that.
Well, I feel like in this universe, or at least in the universe of this movie in particular, physics and, like, bodily injury don't apply, because, like, the fall that Shaw takes at the end of the movie, where he, like, flies out the back of that plane, where the plane is, like, not really near the ground, and he flies onto the concrete, we see if he's alive, because he's in 8. Like, he's not only in 8, but he's, like, able to contribute to things. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's crazy.
In 7, we start in the hospital, though, remember?
Yeah, but he recovers. Like, it's...
Like, pretty
he
quickly.
falls far, fast, and hard, and survives enough that, like, one movie's worth of rehab does everything okay.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, I did. So I didn't notice that, like, in that particular scene with Tej and Roman, but, like, that's what becomes so ridiculous about these movies, is that, like, crashes that kill bad guys and probably civilians, like, our guys come out of as if nothing
Pretty
happened to
unscathed.
them. Like, yeah, like, they cannot be harmed. They're superheroes.
Which I love.
It's the West theory of automancers that as they touch cars, they get more powerful.
Oh,
D&D characters,
yeah.
yes.
Wait, I have a question about the first scene where they're trying to get Shaw for the first time.
Yeah,
Why
okay.
do they need to be there for that?
What do you mean?
Like, what in the car flipping scene, you mean?
Yeah, like the first scene where Shaw's got that crazy car and he's like scooping up cars.
They're there because The Rock wants to catch Shaw, and he knows the only way to catch Shaw is to assemble this team.
That's not true in this scene, though. Like, this is where I lose the plot, and, like, I'm never really able to pick it back up again, and I'm fine with that. He brings them in.
To arrest Shaw.
Yeah, but, like, until Shaw... They don't know that he has that crazy car. All the stuff that happens, they couldn't have predicted that was going to happen. Their original plan was just to, like, send in fake Vin Diesel, have him ID Shaw, and then they were going to go in after Shaw. did they bring in the car guys because they were 100% sure that Shaw was going to try to get away in a car and that our guys would have to go after them?
I'm guessing that might have been a contingency. Like, they think that if he gets away like that, we might as well have
I just
the
like
best...
they make it sound like they're so necessary to the plan, and if that plan had gone the way that they had predicted and wanted it to,
The SWAT team would have just arrested
we
them.
wouldn't have needed anyone else for anything. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Well, I think they're necessary to it because without them being there, it just wouldn't be in the movie.
Right.
It's necessary for us to see, is basically the bottom line.
But that's what I mean, where, like, that's right where I lose the plot, because I'm like, you just worked really hard for something that makes no sense at all. And I'm fine with it.
We try to talk our way through these movies. There's plenty of plot things that I just miss or forget. I've asked many people what is Cypher doing in 8? And nobody can describe her other than she's the bad guy.
That's true.
She has no ultimate... She's not trying to get really anything. She's not trying to get anything. She's not
You think
trying
she has nice hair?
I like her hair.
She's
dreads?
sway.
Yeah, I like her dreads.
You must like Gone in 60 Seconds.
No, her hair's better than that.
Than Angelina Jolie's? I think
Yeah,
it's the
but
same.
I like a little bit.
Okay.
You know, one thing that I do think that, and like this is something that I've somehow been able to do, I feel like these movies, there are answers
Yeah.
to all of the questions that you have. It's just whether or not, like,
Do you believe
pay
that
attention
answer?
to the plot building in between, like, the action scenes. When we watch this movie again, Jordan, I can probably answer you why they are here to, like, you know, basically save the world. Like, why this team, aside from just, like, they're our family, why they're here. Like, there's probably, like, a throwaway line that The Rock says to someone that we don't know, like, oh, we need this team because X, Y, and Z. Other than just, like, there's only one crew who can do it.
Oh, I know what it is. I know exactly what it is.
What?
When they're first on the bridge in Russia, and he sees the car in the side of the building, he's like, man, there's some good drivers. We need equally good drivers in case this thing goes, like, south.
I don't even remember what you're talking about on a bridge in Russia.
When he first meets, what's her name, Joey? Fake Ronda Rousey?
Riley. Gina Carano.
Gina Carano. When he first
Okay.
meets
Well,
Gina
don't call her
Carano...
fake Ronda Rousey, because Ronda Rousey is like Bobo Gina Carano, because she's so bad in the next one.
True. Fair.
And Gina Carano
Fair.
is like the MMA high point in this series.
Okay. So Gina Carano, when she first, like, walks out, which actually I always think this scene is the end of 5, where they're on a bridge and there's, like, a whole bunch of destruction. I think that they're going to walk up on the safe. Like, I thought that was the continuation of that part, but it's not. They're in a different place. Gina Carano walks up to the Rock. He's like, oh, nice to meet you. You know, you're, like, these are why I picked you, whatever. And he's looking around and seeing all the car destruction. And there's a car, like, that flew into a building and is, like, parked in this building now. And he's like...
And she even makes a comment. She's like, how'd that get up there?
Yes, and he's like, I don't know who did it, but they look like they're, like, really good drivers or something like this. And then he's like, we're going to need some good drivers, too.
I think you're probably maybe conflating a couple scenes. Like, in
What?
that,
Okay.
we're supposed to think that's our team, because he says to Gina Carano, there's only one crew in the world that could do something like this.
Yes.
And then we cut to the police station, and we walk in, and we think it's Dom, and then
Oh,
it's British
yeah,
Dom.
and it's like Bobo Vin Diesel.
Right.
Yes.
And so I think the movie is setting up that, like, our people did this. That, like, it's a heist. Like,
Yes.
just like, you know, in
Yeah.
in 8, right, where they steal the thing that The Rock, or that Vin Diesel takes for Charlize, for Cypher, you know, where we don't see that heist in that, like, nuclear power plant or whatever,
Yeah.
right? This movie is setting up, like, our family did this, and we're going to be filling in the gaps later. So it's just, like, I don't think that he's saying anything there about, like, this is why we need Dominic Toretto. It's like, I know who did this.
So
we're assuming
I'm
it's our
logically
people.
piecing the next part together. Like, he goes and gets Dom when he realizes it's not them.
I think that the whole point of that is, like, it's a fake out, like, and this is a bit of a tangent, but, like, in the beginning of The Dark Knight, right, like, it's been established that, like, the Joker has been running amok in this world for, like, a year.
Yeah.
Like, the 9 months or whatever between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, Batman and Gordon and, like, all of GCPD have been, like, chasing after the Joker.
Yeah.
So I think in the same way that, like, that just establishes, like, a baseline, like, this is going to be the villain in this movie, this scene in Fast and Furious 6 is, like, The Rock, Hobbs, knows that Shaw's crew is, like, hitting heists and banks and whatever, like, they're in Russia or they're wherever.
we don't
and, like,
know
he knows
this.
who it is.
Yeah.
It's just like a little bit of a misdirect for us because we think it's the one thing, but there are a bunch of characters we don't know yet. So I think it's a way of establishing these are the villains.
Yes.
And also to match up with those, this is how our family comes in. So I don't think that's the scene where we need these
it's not
people
all
because
there.
X.
Yeah.
But it's a couple other things. It's tangentially related.
Perfect. That makes sense. Yeah.
So
I think we got there.
The
Go ahead.
Rock is pretty much like, well, I only know one other group of people who could even match this, so I must have them because otherwise we can't beat these the guys.
That's what I think.
Sure.
And I think he knows that the way that he can convince them to do it is obviously be like, well, Letty's with them.
Right.
The way that they're able to get them there is because he's like, look, Letty's back.
But the reason that they need them is because they need a team that could match the driving of this team, and they happen to be like the bizarro version of our family. They're just like the mirror images of our family.
Yeah, so I'm guessing, like, in this world, there are probably a lot of people, or maybe not a lot of people, but a handful of different crews that could fulfill what The Rock needs, right? But this one, he goes after Dom because it's personal, because Letty is there. Like, he's like, I'm going to be able to get them for sure.
Yeah.
Because, Letty's there. Okay, so...
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not like these are the only racers in the world, but they're, like, some of
They're
the only racers in the world.
racer, spy, hacker combo teams, fighters, MMA fighters that exist.
Our guys are they're
Family.
bad guys,
Well, they're morally ambiguous.
but they're criminals.
Oh, definitely.
Don't you think?
Oh yeah,
Like,
they're on the run. This is why Dom
they're
gets the house
literal
back at
criminals.
the end. They're literal criminals
right now
yeah.
in this movie. Is there no team of good guys that they could put together who are like good at driving and like good at
obviously not in the
hacking?
FBI. FBI doesn't know what a Gallo 12 or a Gallo 24 is. The FBI, the best thing that the FBI had was Brian, and now he's a
Yeah.
criminal. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sent him all around the planet, and he wouldn't have moved up the ranks so high
But
to be like the.
Brian is like the most useless one. Like he's not. He's not. But like really, all he can do is
In what
drive.
sense?
Like I mean, I guess he can punch people in the face.
Well, one, he's a trained cop.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. That's true.
So he knows how to like gun and punch, and he also is like a pro driver, and then learned a lot about cars from Dom.
Yeah.
He's essentially he's miniature Dom. He's like the new age Dom. That's what he is. He's just training to be a better Dom.
Brian?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I mean, like, Jordan, like, we talked about, and I don't know if you know this, or have thought about it, but the first movie is basically a remake of Point Break.
Whoa, really?
Dom is Patrick Swayze,
Uh-huh.
and Brian is
Keanu
Keanu.
Reeves.
And, like, to the point where, like, he lets him go at the end and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's really kind of scary close to, like, it's the same movie. So in that way, like, yeah, Patrick Swayze's a bad guy, but, like, is he really a bad guy? Like, he's kind of a lovable bad guy, in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we're meant to. We like him. You know.
Yes. Have we gone through... I don't think I did mine. Did you both say your least family moment?
Yeah,
know
I
we
said
sort of
when they're like, "Where's Gal at?" and like Han is visibly upset.
Jordan, did you pick one yet?
I'm having a hard time thinking of one.
You don't have to pick one. I mean, you can pick one if you want. You don't have to if you.
Because this is a pretty family movie when
It's
all
all
is said
family.
and done.
Yeah, this is all family to me.
I'm trying to think if there's one that sticks out to me. Let me look through my notes what else I want to
Yeah,
talk
I'm
about
gonna
that I
look at
noticed
my
this time
notes,
around.
too.
Okay, I think that arguably the worst line in any Fast and the Furious movie ever.
I think we talked about this in
Did we?
the first time around. I think if it's the line I'm thinking about.
When Letty says, "Aren't you Team Muscle? Don't make me come over there and make you Team Pussy." To like the guy, it's just so bad and weird, and it just feels weird. It has bad mouth feel. I don't like anything about it. Like, you know when people are like, "I don't like the word moist," that whole line just makes me feel cringy like this.
I thought you were going to say...
Planet or Planet?
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say.
No.
Like that's like this whole movie sounds like that to me.
It does. It seems like they did like the director and the writers are like, "Look, we're gonna come up with a couple lines here," and they're like, "Well, fuck, we forgot the other couple lines. So like, just try that first one." And she's like, "Are you Team Muscle?" And he's like, "That kind of works." And they just like cut, just like move on. They're like, "We'll come back to it if we think of another one," and then they just don't.
Well, I feel like, we talked about on the first movie, Fast and Furious Lap 2, with Tobin and Island, about how, like, 7 minutes into the first movie, Vince drops a hard F. You know what I mean? Like, it feels
Yes.
sort of in a way like that. Like, you're beyond using, like, gay slurs or, like, using pussy as a synonym for weak. Like, I understand that is, in a way,
just-
who these characters are, but, like,
Yeah.
it's in a similar way, I think, to, like, what Jordan was saying earlier about, like, calling people women or calling, like, saying
Yeah.
woman.
Yes,
Like,
I agree. I think
there
this is
are
way worse.
so many
Yeah.
ways to use, like, Are you team muscle? Are you team like chicken or coward or whatever? Like,
Just don't even say that. Be like, don't make me come over there and beat your ass.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
say
I mean,
something
that's
like that.
Like, who talks like that? It's an awful line, no matter
Yeah,
what.
that's the other
word
thing.
you
Like,
put there.
the way it comes out is like, what? Like, what were you thinking? Nobody talks like it's such a movie line, but also doesn't work. Like, it doesn't land. So it's like, ugh, I don't like it.
At
Yeah.
my third note, so like it was pretty quick, was did the acting get worse since the last time I saw this? But I actually don't think it's the acting. I think it's the writing. They don't give them easy things to say, easy normal things to say.
They didn't file this one down, which I don't think that they do a lot. This one definitely feels the roughest dialogue-wise for me.
it's written by Chris Morgan. It's the guy who wrote all the movies. Like, this is like, and this is the same thing like with 8. Like, I hate a lot of the writing in 8, but it's the same guy. Like, it feels like 8 at times feels like fan fiction. This feels like I just don't know how. Like, it feels like I've run out of ways to write these characters in new ways.
You
'cause I've been writing for so often, but
forgot
like,
how.
kinder forgot.
Yeah, I like that. In this one, though, we've firmly gotten into the world where Dom only uses the Dom family voice, like the voice
Yeah.
that you imagine Dom talking about family. like in this movie, we get many instances of that. Like in the previous ones, he's like talking normally. He might be like "go" or something like that. But like in this one, pretty much every line is delivered in the Dom family voice.
Which is also, I think, extremely fitting in that this is the movie that ends with him and The Rock having their head off in the same frame, where it's like 90% their heads at
Oh
the
my
very,
god,
very end.
why are they standing like that?
Because they're two alpha males vying for screen time.
They are standing in an insane way that no two humans would ever stand in front of each other.
Yeah,
It's so silly.
But it's also this movie, really.
it is.
And
At
it's
its
like
core.
they're standing in such a way that they're like whispering into each other's ears too.
Yeah.
I want The Rock to whisper into my ear, so don't even get about
I mean,
this
yeah,
part.
We have on our trampoline somebody like ripped a magazine page out that's just a picture of The Rock, and they taped it up and like wrote next to it, "The Rock says good job." And you know it helps.
Do you only see it when you jump? I'm imagining it that it's like only eye level if you're like 20
No,
feet in
it's
the
just
air.
like we have a wall next to our
fuck.
trampoline,
Okay.
and it's just right on the wall right there.
I was really hoping that it was like it's like above like a ledge or something, and if you jump high enough, you just see The Rock's like, you did a good job, like because you're 20 feet in the air. That's what I was hoping for.
No, but I can add that. That would be fun.
You know, one thing that I noticed, this is a scene that we've already talked about, but when Tej spends millions of dollars on those cars, and he says to The Rock, what's the use in having millions of dollars in the bank if you aren't going to spend it? Compare that to earlier in the movie, Roman asking people for spare change so he can get candy.
Yes.
Like, Roman and Tej are never less alike than they are in those moments. Like, I feel like Tej
Yeah.
is like,
That's the
let's just
complete
spend money,
polar
and Roman's
opposites.
like, I need to stay a millionaire.
Yeah.
Did either of you notice what Roman's plane, the words on the outside of Roman's plane?
It's
Oh, I
Roman's
did when it-
bitches.
Yeah,
It's Roman, bitches.
I
Yeah.
remember pointing it out when I watched it.
Yeah, that's
Which I
awesome.
never saw before, but it's... Whew. There's a moment in the middle of the movie where Dom is talking to Shaw, and Shaw talks about he's like, my brother has a code. I'm like, ooh, he's talking about Jason Statham before we know that Jason Statham exists.
That's
you know what I mean?
true,
Like,
yeah.
He's setting up a future movie.
I
He's
never
setting
caught
up
that. Yeah.
a brother.
Yeah.
When we did the Watch the Throne episode of Fate of the Furious, and you, me, and Mike talked about what Charlize, her role in the universe, like if there is more to it. Like, I don't think she has lines like that. Like, she doesn't talk about her family. She doesn't talk about like her brothers or her
Yeah, they
mother
wrote
or
her
whatever.
very open.
Yeah, so
We haven't yet talked about the best line in the movie.
What is it? Tell me.
You better hide that big ass forehead.
When he says that, I think that is probably the most genuine moment in a Fast and
That's
Furious
why
movie.
it's the best.
Because Ludacris laughs so
It's a real
hard.
laugh. It's a real laugh.
He really spits liquid out of his mouth.
Well, and so I googled it because I was like that seems like it was almost improv. Like Ludacris is like truly
Dying.
laughing.
Yeah.
So I googled it. I guess they were shooting that scene, and like I think The Rock was supposed to come in and kind of like fuck around
Yeah.
with
Tyrese.
Tyrese.
Roman.
Oh god, I couldn't remember his name anymore.
okay.
With Roman, but Ludacris was like, yeah, like really, really go for it, like really mess with him. And so that was The Rock, like really going for it after Luda kind of like egged him on.
He delivers it so well, and it's just so perfect. Yeah.
what's kind of weird, and I guess it must have been the case, is that they must have had the camera on both of them, because they have The Rock delivering the line, and then they have, or maybe he's laughing at a different take, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, because he's giggling before it even comes out.
the reaction they get is a genuine reaction, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But if there's only one camera, they would have been filming The Rock saying the line as opposed to Ludacris hearing it.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch it again.
It's very good. Jordan, is this your Fast and Furious equivalent of watching Leonardo DiCaprio swirl the cigarette around in his mouth?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But for different reasons.
Joe, there's a GIF
GIF, yeah.
from Titanic
Okay.
of Leonardo DiCaprio just like twirling a cigarette around in his mouth. That when Jordan and I and Kara,
Yes.
who will be on all of Lap 5 with us,
Yeah.
Watched and talked about Titanic
Kara's
for their
never
show.
seen any of these, right?
No, not even
No,
one.
that's why
Not a
she's
minute
it's
of
her
it.
Amazing.
it's her new engine or whatever.
Driving school.
Driving school.
Yeah.
It's just Leo twirling around a cigarette
He's
in his
like
mouth.
flicking a cigarette with his tongue.
Okay.
Jordan just watched the GIF on repeat the entire time we recorded because it's just mesmerizing to her. So
Yeah,
It's
I get
so
it.
Beautiful. He's so pretty.
He is. I
I'm
agree.
watching it now.
it was just his birthday the other day. I think he's 44.
not pretty
48.
anymore.
No way. 44? So young. So much younger than I imagined.
He looks like he's 1,000 years old.
Yeah, he looks like he's way older than 44.
I mean, you don't look young when you're in the Pussy Posse.
I guess not.
One thing I sort of made a note of at the end here is that like I admired when they're on the runway that with all this crazy shit happening, right?
Yeah.
The pilots are still like, we gotta take off. We gotta go fast. We gotta do this stuff. They're so dedicated to their job. They're like, we gotta take off, right? And then like I'm following through my notes from last time as I'm watching this movie, and like 3 lines later I had said the same thing. Like, I wonder when these pilots are gonna give up. Like I like forgot it entirely, but I just thought it was so funny that like both times that I've taken notes on this movie, I had the same thought. Like, man, these pilots really going for it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, they want to do their job. Maybe they're getting paid well. You don't know.
Maybe they get paid for every mile of the runway they take up.
Drive on? Yeah. They're getting overtime right now.
Has anyone done the math for how long that runway has to be?
Somebody on the internet did the math, right, Joe?
I don't know. I definitely timed it last time Rachel and I watched it. It was from the time that they pull on to the beginning of the runway, like when they turn the corner to where Dom steps out of the car and the plane is stopped. It is 13 minutes worth of runway time.
Okay, and they're going pretty fast.
I would imagine they're going over 80 miles an hour, so you can do the math.
I was trying to think about that this time, and I still don't have like an explanation for why it's so long, other than just
It's an
it
Air
has to be
Force
for the
base.
scene.
It's an Air Force base.
But like, I also think that like when you have a planet-sized plane, you need a lot of runway
You do.
to build up the speed
Yep.
to actually like take off into like, you know, to blast off into the stratosphere, right?
Yeah.
So like it would be long, whether it's, 20 miles long, probably not, but it's
Yeah.
not crazy to have a long runway. It's just crazy to have that long of a runway.
Do you want me to tell you what I just learned about this?
Tell me.
Someone did the math, and by their math, the Fast and Furious runway is 28.829 miles long.
Okay.
For context, the longest paved runway in the world is 3.4 miles long.
Okay, so it's 9 times that. Okay.
And the longest partially paved runway is 7.5 miles long.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I wonder how long the runway was that they shot this on.
It
like,
was fucking green screen.
Well, no, because I mean the plane is moving.
Yeah,
They
but
had something.
they're like towing it at like 5 miles an hour and then just blowing wind on everyone. It was probably like a really short runway. And they just do
Like,
laps.
to bring it back to like I mentioned the Matrix before, but like when the Matrix Reloaded, when they did that like highway chase where like Trinity's on the bike and she's bringing the keymaker around and like Morpheus is getting chased by the twins and stuff and like there's the cops after them, the Wachowskis went out into the Australian desert and built like 3 miles of highway to shoot that.
Okay.
Which I think is crazy. Like, I don't think that necessarily happened here, but like it's not unheard of for a big budget movie to just like be real crazy about it. Like, I understand that like most likely it's green screen, but I don't think it's
All
impossible
of it
that they
might not
have.
be.
Right.
Look at Mad
Yeah.
Max.
It's crazy.
Look at Mad Max. Jordan, do you have any other notes about Fast and I'm sure you have a lot of other notes, but do you have any other notes that you want to talk about with Fast and Furious 6 before we get on to our couple of games?
Let me look. Oh, there's one other thing that I want to bring up that I find really unsettling.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's how Shaw treats Letty.
Okay.
He is so creepy. He exploits her because she has no memory.
Yeah.
And then is a real creep. Like, makes her feel like she's trapped. He's talking to her like real rapey.
I agree.
Oh, God, it's just so gross the way that she is treated in this.
Pretty much all he needed to do, like, last was, like, rub her face. Like, if he would have, if he would have, like, pet her, that would have been the only way it could have got creepier. I agree.
And, like, I feel in this movie, like, she's framed as kind of, like... Or, like, often in these movies, she's framed as, like, kind of the, like, strong one with, like, the tough exterior. Like, she's still framed that way in this movie, but she is just, like, so lost and so exploited.
She seems
Like,
broken.
even by our guys. I don't know. I don't like it. I can't, like, quite put... Like, I don't have quite, like, good words for it.
The entire, if you want to call it, relationship between her and Shaw is just like weird and shitty. Like their backstory is that he went to the hospital to kill her, realized she had no memory, and
was like,
realized that he
dope.
could take advantage of her and use her against Dom. The very foundation of like their relationship, again, if you want to use that word, is like fucked up. Like it's crazy. Like it's not good. Like everything about the way that they, from the jump, in terms of like how they interact with one another, like it's not good.
Yeah.
It's a toxic relationship on like every front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess she's only there because she literally doesn't know better. Like she has nowhere.
But, like, okay, put yourself in her place.
Yeah.
I just feel like she probably has other choices. Why isn't she doing them? Do you know? Like, if
Well,
she...
because the choice would be to start life from scratch, I think, right?
But, like,
Or
if
no?
she truly has no memory. Okay, she
Yeah.
truly has no memory. Like,
Except
why
how to
would-
drive and fight.
Why? Right, except for those things. Why would this be what she is okay with? Like, why would this be what she
Because
goes
it's a
with in the
bizarro
world?
family. The family mirrors the family that she came from so
Oh.
closely that I
So you
think that
think
it
she's, like,
does feel
drawn to it?
comfortable. Yeah.
Maybe, sure.
Like you like unconsciously are like, oh, it feels like I'm close to what I had. Like even if you've forgotten everything, like you would like, you know, do you know your mom's voice type thing.
Like this feels familiar in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like she can't put her finger on why it feels familiar, but it.
And it might not feel right, but it feels familiar, like kind of familiar, you know?
I can buy that, but
Yeah,
he's
that's what I'm
real
thinking.
gross to her.
Yeah, he is
I don't
definitely
like it.
for sure.
I also think it's really lazy that, like, every character kind of has, like, a thing that is their thing. But both Han and Roman's thing is eating.
Yes, I'm glad you brought this up. I'm so glad. I had this in my notes, and this is the first time. When does Roman pass the torch to Han as the eater?
I don't know.
No, I mean Han was the you
I
see it the
thought
other way
Han
around.
was always the eater.
No.
Han
yeah.
was the eater first.
No, he wasn't. Because Roman was "We's be hungry," and why are you always eating? Because you're in jail. That's number 2.
Okay, but then Han's always eating in 3.
Yes.
Neither is in 4, and then in 5, I don't know if Roman eats, but I remember in 5 specifically when Han and Giselle are on the beach before she does the handprint on the bikini bottom.
Han is now the eater.
Han's eating.
Yeah, and Han is eating the Japanese snacks when they walk in 5. He's eating the snacks on the beach, and that's when Giselle says, like, you were formerly 2-pack-a-day smoker. I know
Right.
this about you. But up until that point, Tyrese Roman was the eater. And even in this one, he's trying to buy snacks. But we just had Han be the eater in the last one. Very confusing.
Yeah.
I thought about this a lot, this film. I'm glad you brought that up, Jordan. Thank you.
Yeah, I found it to be really lazy to give them both. And there was, like, one moment where they kind of shared in it. And
It's
then
weird.
that was it.
But, like, you can only have one eater. Like, that's like a
I
character
agree.
trait that's like, you know, like the guy that's like always munching. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I know him. Snacks. Exactly.
Anything else, Jordan, about this movie that you wanted to cover?
In the other movies, because I can't remember, I know that there are a lot of aerial shots in the 5th one, but this seemed like where they just, like, really started taking, like, excessive aerial shots of every single city, and, like, that's how they open every scene.
Yeah.
But is it like that in all the other ones? I know it is in the later ones.
It starts at about 5, I think. Maybe
That's
4.
what I thought.
4, too.
I think it's a few different reasons. I think number 1, it's just because I think it's
Budget.
the bigger budget, number 1. Number 2, like drone technology is getting more affordable, right?
Yeah.
Number 3, these movies are now, in terms of storytelling, taking on a more grand scale. And how do you show that? But you like literally tour the world, right?
Yeah.
I think it is just like hey, this is like an establishing shot of London or of Rio or of Havana or of whatever.
Isn't there one, I I want to say it's like the 7th one. They start to label them. They actually like say with text on the screen where we are.
Well, that's for sure in 8. Like,
Do you
it's
think
And I think
they're
it's
like-
7 too. Yeah.
Do you think they're just like, oh, everyone was dumb. We need to like put words on this.
No, it's because they go so global. Like there's multiple.
But they were
cities.
super global in this one too, weren't they?
I think it's a director thing, because for 7, James Wan directed it.
That's right. It's a
and then
different
for
director.
8, F. Gary Gray directed it.
Yeah.
So 3 through
Right.
6 are all Justin Lin.
Justin Lin was not about that. I could buy
Fair.
that.
Good point. Yeah, that's possible too.
All right, Jordan. We teased at the beginning. It is now time
My
to
favorite
figure
game.
out which Fast and Furious character are you.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So this is like a J13 Teen Vogue style quiz
Okay.
that you just answer the questions. There's some picture components.
Okay.
We've gotten a couple doubles now. We don't
Mm-hmm.
know every character. We haven't tried to play out every character.
Okay.
We don't know when it was made, so we don't even know the possibilities of which characters are possible in it. But
You can ask questions about like what questions mean. We don't have the answers. Like we were saying, we don't know
Yeah.
why some of these things are questions about Fast and Furious. We don't know.
Okay.
But again,
give
no
it a
wrong
shot.
answers.
No wrong answers. And
Just go with your gut.
Well,
Yeah.
I have a question before we start.
okay.
Yep.
Have you both done it?
Yes.
Yes.
Who are you?
I am Brian,
I'm
Okay.
Mia.
and Joe is Mia, and Joe's wife is
Brian.
which is
Okay.
adorable.
So they both tolerate me. It makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we've gotten Brian, Mia, Roman, Dom, and Hobbs. We have not gotten a Letty yet, and you said you were a Letty. We don't know that there is a Letty, but we're assuming there is a Letty. There might only be 5 characters. You might have gotten them all, but I don't know. We're going to find out. We're
I
gonna keep
can
playing this every
promise you I know a character trait about your character.
time. Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
That we
okay.
figured out last time.
Jordan, first things first, how fast do you like to go? NASCAR, roller coaster, Vespa?
Roller coaster.
Second thing second, how furious are you? Hulk, Sam Kinison, the comedian, or Furious Styles? Furious Styles from Boys in the Hood.
I don't even know what 2 of those things are.
Sam Kinison's a comedian, and Hulk. So,
I
like,
mean,
are you...
I kind of know who Sam Kinison is, but is he angry?
Don't know?
Apparently, he's a level of furious that we can't decide.
Okay, what's the 3rd one?
Furious Styles?
I don't know what that is.
Yep, it's from
It's a thing.
Boys in the Hood.
What was I forgot what the first
And
one
Hulk.
was.
Hulk is the first one.
I'm gonna say Sam Kinison.
Perfect.
Yeah, Jordan, I mean, we all have the same imperfect information here
Okay,
that
cool.
we're working
You don't
off of.
you don't know a lot more than I do.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not like some background thing that like we know that we were not filling you in on. It's
Okay.
You're going based off the knowledge we have.
Okay.
Who would you risk your life for? Family?
This is one of my
friends? Anyone? No one.
Friends?
Okay. Choose a one-liner. Why don't you just pack it up before I leave tread marks on your face? I'm a boy who appreciates a good body regardless of the make. When are you going to give Martin Luther King his car back? He's like gravity. Everything just gets pulled to him. There's never nothing. There's always something. Ride or die.
Oh God. Okay, it's between Ride or Die and There's Never Nothing. There's Always Something.
Those are 2 good choices.
Again, no wrong answers. What's your gut go with?
There's never nothing. There's always something.
Okay.
Sometimes there is nothing. There's definitively nothings. Like large parts of
Yeah.
the universe are nothing.
But Joe, there's never nothing. There's always something.
No, there's
Someone
always
you have a
something.
crush on, Jordan, is standing over there. What will
Yep.
you do? Nothing. Let them come to me. I'm going over there. Stand here and stare at them. I'm out of here.
Stand here and stare at them.
That's a very common answer. We pretty much all answered that. Like everyone.
Good.
That's,
Everyone's the same.
yeah. It's like the internet generation. We fucked this up. Okay.
Choose your ride. There's a visual component. I just put it in the
Okay,
chat.
alright.
2010 Alfa Romeo Giulietta. 2009 Dodge Challenger SRT8. Plymouth Roadrunner. Gurkha LAPV. 2010 Koenigsegg CCXR.
Dodge.
Dodge Challenger. Okay.
Also a popular choice.
Which of these opposites do you tend towards? Positive or negative?
Positive.
I could have guessed that. That's the only question I'm ever confident on with these, Joe, about
When
whether
we
people are gonna
quiz
say positive
someone?
or negative.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
How do you feel about lying, Jordan? I'm a big liar. I lie sometimes, no big deal. If I do lie, I feel bad about it forever. Or call me Honest Abe.
Call me Honest Abe.
Whoa.
I can't. You'll know. I can't lie. I would love to be able to. It's not possible.
It's really easy. Just try it. I do it all the time.
I have no game face. Like no game face.
Oh yeah, you got to work on it. Just practice in the mirror sometimes.
It's too hard. It's
Damn
too
it.
hard. My insides feel weird.
How do you say goodbye, Jordan, to someone you love? Remember them every day. Turn your back and walk away. Pour your 40 out. You don't.
You don't?
Jordan, I want you to choose an action hero. The pictures don't necessarily align. I put it in here. John Kimball. This is from Kindergarten Cop. John Matrix from Commando. James Carter from Rush Hour. Nikita from La Femme Nikita. John Rambo or Hercules.
Nikita.
Did you feel like you had to pick that because you're a girl or no?
Yeah.
Oh damn!
I
I'm
did.
sorry.
Well, and there was only one.
That's what I mean.
choice.
That's what I was trying to acknowledge it. We
yeah.
talked about the woman thing
Yeah.
earlier. I wanted to know if that's what you picked because there's only one
Kind
girl.
of, yeah. And it's not like I didn't have strong feelings about any of these other characters. If I had, I might have chosen differently. But I don't have strong feelings about any of these people. So it's the girl.
Joey, you know what? I'm planning our own version of this quiz, and I think Wonder Woman has to be a choice.
Sure, and I wonder.
Yeah,
I do want to
gal.
come up with this like for the next after the Mike Manzi lap.
Yeah.
But we also have to figure out how to weight the answers. You know what I mean? Like we have to come up with answers and give each a point value.
Guess what? We got nothing but time.
Nothing but time.
So-
All right, Jordan.
Wait, can I tell you my problem with Wonder Woman? It's the second time that she's come up.
Sure.
Two things. I cannot stand her outfit. I cannot stand that she has wedge shoes on. They're very impractical. And her
Apparently.
tube top is very impractical. But whatever. I can believe that there's some kind of superhero magic that makes that all possible.
Okay.
I've never seen the beginning of the movie, which I'm told is very
you sleep
awesome.
through it?
No, I didn't go to see it in the theaters because it just didn't really appeal to me.
I still haven't seen it, honestly. Sorry. Whoops.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So then I just caught it on TV one day and missed the first 45 minutes or something. So by the time I started watching it, she's not on her magical woman island anymore. She's in the real world, in our world.
Themyscira, yes.
And she's the only woman in the movie for the rest of the movie.
Jordan, the beginning is so good that I was almost crying in theaters. It's just so unlike what everything else that we've seen.
But the rest
superhero
of the
movies.
movie, what about the rest of the movie?
Because there's the whole thing about her in the world of men. That's the whole
Okay.
kind of point of it.
I'll try to hold back. I trust you, so I'll try to hold back my judgment
Okay.
a little bit until I see the beginning one day.
Okay.
Not that this really means necessarily a lot, but it was the second episode of The Contenders, and I was the first guest on that podcast. And we talked about this movie, and all three of us loved and cherished and adored it. So Eisen, who is notoriously critical of things that don't necessarily pass gender tests, really, really likes that movie.
Cool,
so
good.
I would advise you to check it out. It's just
I will. I just need
it
to
just makes me so happy that there is a character in the world that little girls can be oh, that's me on the screen. I can be a superhero.
And also, there's only one.
Jordan, what's your favorite article of clothing? My dark jeans, my favorite wife beater, my too tight t-shirt, my old sneakers, my leather jacket.
Jeans.
Dark jeans. Same.
Jordan, it's our anniversary celebration to us. What are we doing? Candlelit dinner for two somewhere dark. Let's just go somewhere dark. Let's drive.
Let's just go somewhere dark.
We decided last time that we don't know if that implies sex or not. That's just the answer to the question.
Jordan, last question. If you were to have your photo taken, what would the background be? I put the picture in there. Desert, blue sky, garage, city lights, and explosion.
The explosion.
Joe, do you have any guesses who Jordan is? It's a character we've had before.
I'm guessing Dom.
She is Dom.
Ew.
I'm so good at this game. I get a large majority of these right, don't I?
Well,
The only one I missed, I think, was fucking Liam and Ellie.
there's a couple where you're just I don't know. I feel when you guess, you get it right, but there's a lot that you're just I don't know.
Okay.
So you're at the SATs. You're not getting points off for getting it wrong. You're just leaving a blank, taking a pass.
Okay.
Jordan, you were a born leader with certain faith and a moral code that puts family and friends above all. You walk around with huge confidence. You can be curt, but you're a lover and a fighter. Life in the fast lane is a philosophy, not an empty saying for you. Plus, Joe,
And
what's true
she
about her?
drives like the wind.
Wind blows. You drive like the wind blows, Jordan, which is how each one of these character descriptions ends.
No matter
You
what.
drive
Wait, they're
like
all
the
the
wind
same.
blows.
The
No,
end-
it's the last line.
the last line is because we had noticed it. We were and he drives like the wind. But we're does anybody not drive like the wind blows? And then we started to notice that everybody drives like the wind blows. So
We have actually before we get to the last game, we do have a side game here. So Jordan, this is going to be very difficult for you because it's very difficult for me too.
Okay.
okay,
We started playing a game here on the show, Jordan, where I try to get Joe to guess cars by describing them.
Okay.
And I am someone who knows almost nothing about cars.
Okay, Joe, do you know about cars?
I can usually get there.
Okay.
Even with Joey's shitty descriptions of them.
We're at a point where, like, my first clue is, like, it's red, which I understand is not helpful, but that's still where my brain goes. So
We have, like, lots of arguments after it about, like, I'm like, is the car rounded or square? And he's like, in between.
it's kind of both, which is true.
Or the headlights rounded? He's like, they're, like, goofy shaped. And you're like, okay.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So one of our fans, Wes Hampton, sent in a picture.
I hope that other people enjoy this. Does anybody else enjoy this game?
I
Apparently
think
they
Wes
do.
does.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And I think Jenny did when Jenny sent them in.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay.
Okay, so he says this one might be a little trickier because it's not really a flashy import or classic design.
Do you want to send it to Jordan and I'd like not look at my computer screen?
I'll send it, Jordan. I'll send it to you on Facebook.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
Maybe she can answer the questions not shittily.
You can be like my co-counsel.
Okay.
So Jordan, there's the 2 pictures, okay?
Wait, why are there 2?
Well, I'll get there in a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Joe, it's not really a flashy import or classic design. It is from a movie.
Ooh.
It was featured in a movie that I don't know called Repo Men.
Oh.
Not Repo Man.
Not
which
Repo
is the English
Man.
movie. This is an
Oh.
This is a newer movie.
Okay.
He didn't realize it was until later that is the version they used, which I think is the second one, Jordan,
Okay.
was used as a modified design with a new body kit and additional accessories that made it seem like a much more fun car than it probably is in real life.
Okay.
The first pic, Jordan, the white one, is a stock photo. The second is from the movie. Okay?
Okay.
Joe, the country of origin is Germany.
Okay.
Which should make it maybe easy to start things off, but it is white.
Okay.
It is kind of an SUV hybrid.
Okay. Is it a Q5?
No.
Audi Q5? No.
No.
Porsche Cayenne.
This is not how we play the game. This is like 20 questions and like guessing like, are you an animal? Yes. Are you a dog? Like that's not how you play this game.
Okay.
You have to whittle it down a little bit.
Okay. Keep going.
You can ask yes or no questions. The country is Germany, right? It's a mid-sized luxury crossover SUV.
Okay.
4 doors.
Thanks. Okay.
It's sporty, and in the movie it looks especially sporty. In the movie it sort of looks like zombie-ish, would you say, Jordan? Like sort of like post-apocalyptic, like...
No.
Like, not the car looks like a zombie, but like it looks like a kind of car that you can
These are the
use in
descriptions I deal with.
apocalypse.
This is the bullshit that I get.
Okay, I couldn't do better than him, but I don't agree with the last thing that he said.
Is it boxy?
No.
It's not boxy. But I wouldn't say boxy as a description of it.
Is the front of it? Is it like very flat?
No.
No.
Does it have a large grill?
I would say average. I don't think the grill's particularly remarkable.
It's
on this
normal.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Lots of headlights. What are the headlights shaped like?
It's dual headlights
Okay.
up top with another headlight down below and a fog light down below.
Okay. Is it a Mercedes?
No.
Is it a Porsche?
No.
Is it an Audi?
No.
German car that's none of those?
It's where my head went to first when I heard if I heard German car, I would have gone here first.
Yeah, I probably would do this first or second too.
Porsche, Audi, Mercedes? No?
Nope, you guessed all those already.
Damn. What German car am I missing? Volkswagen?
There you go.
Okay. Is it kind of rounded?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a Touareg?
It is a 2010 Volkswagen Touareg featured in the film Repo Men. Been in production since 2002.
Yeah,
So
you know what this car is? It's a fucking Porsche Cayenne. It's the same exact car. It's the exact same car, which was like my second guess.
Yeah, but you guessed the second car based on no clues. You just said it was German. You just guessed the Porsche Cayenne, which I think has been a car that we've guessed on this game before.
Has it? Let me see the pictures. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Touaregs are pretty cool. They use a lot of the same parts as a Cayenne, so you can actually replace like a lot of the pieces of a Porsche Cayenne with a Touareg, and the Touareg is much, much cheaper. I think they're pretty cool. I like Porsche Cayennes, and if I had an SUV like this, I think a Touareg is actually a pretty good choice. I would probably drive one of these. I like the souped up one with the rack and the big wheels and stuff on it. I bet this is fun to drive.
Do you see what I mean, or am I still off base? That like I feel like that second car could be the kind of car you use in a zombie apocalypse.
It looks like a utility vehicle. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like I think in terms like the roof rack, in terms of like
it looks like
sort
something
a
out of
bolstered
Walking
roof
Dead.
rack,
I can see
better
it.
tires.
Yeah.
It's there to not to hunt, but like to survive the hunt, if you will.
I can see it, but when you said zombie apocalypse...
Also, while you're looking that up, I just want to let you know that we have the preliminary results of our Twitter poll.
Which is me.
We have 6 votes.
Yeah.
1 for 1 syllable, 5 for 2
2
syllables.
syllables.
Oil.
Joe, I need you to know that it was honestly kind of a 12 Angry Men situation, that I was the
He was
only
the only
person
one.
in the room who thought it was 2 syllables. And now the fact that, like, Jordan's on my side, it's still, like, it's honestly such a surprise to me that, like, it feels too good to be true. Like, I feel like I've been fighting this battle alone for so many years.
Yeah.
And now I have somebody else on my side who agrees with me. And it's Jordan, it's good to have you in my corner.
When you said zombie apocalypse, I was thinking it was like a G53 Mercedes, like the very square Mercedes ones, like a Puff Daddy Mercedes. So that's what the zombie apocalypse.
Do you have a picture of that or no? Oh, ooh.
You said like it looks like a zombie something, and I was like,
Sure.
oh, when I
Okay.
think zombie, I think
Oh,
that. So.
yeah.
That's a ugly car.
That's why I said is it very square, and you were like, no.
Jordan, we have one other game on the show. It's a quick game. It has 2 different names. This ain't no 10-second race, a.k.a. Boy, Do We Have a Podcast
for you.
So, Jordan, the goal of this game is that you, me, and Joe are each going to go on Twitter and find a tweet. It could be any tweet in the world, any tweet that you want.
Okay.
Ideally one for Fast and Furious just because of the nature of the game.
But
we're
anything
going
you want to search for.
Anything you want to search for. What we do is we respond to it with, boy, do we have a podcast for you, hashtag Too Fast, Too Forever, hashtag 2F2F, hashtag Fast and Furious, link to our show hub page. Basically try to get the word out. There is scoring, so people like, retweet, reply, or email, you get points for that. The scoring after basically a lap and a half, just so you know, it's very difficult. Most of the scoring came last episode. Joe has 9, I have 4, Chris Podcast has 1, no one else has any points.
I don't get it.
So,
I found the best. Yeah, so you.
find any tweet that you think somebody might want to know about our podcast, and we're basically trying to broaden our fan base with viral promotion of our brand. Ideally, trying to find somebody who might be interested. So here's what we're gonna do. So for the first one that we found, so Joe 2's tweet, I'm putting a link in here.
Okay.
It was Fast and Furious 1 through 5 are on Netflix. OMG.
So that's just like a random person tweeting about Fast and Furious?
Yeah, you pick anything. It could, yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't have to even say Fast and Furious, and you'll see.
So now,
if
Joe.
you want to see mine, should I go?
No. So we did the review last time first.
Okay,
so
go ahead.
Joe, so Jordan, another thing that you should know is that Joe has twice
Hidden
tweeted at somebody who's
accounts.
gotten banned.
From Twitter.
And also once tweeted at somebody who went private. Like we found a public tweet, tweeted at them, they went private.
Okay.
Joe, we've broken new ground today. At Official Hugh blocked us.
Ooh.
That's awesome. I'm
So we
really
can
good.
see, on my own Twitter account, I can see that the tweet is still there. Hugh did not interact with it, but Hugh did block us.
Fair.
Which, is aggressive, but, not unjustified.
Basically, you're like scaring strangers, is this game?
Pretty much. Yeah,
Cool,
yeah, that's
cool.
what it is. It's like mild harassment.
I found a tweet that was a quote tweet of the gif from this movie of Han and Giselle in
Yeah.
Korea or in Japan with the guns, and somebody said, I'm still not over this and it never will be, and the quote tweet said, I will kill for a Han and Giselle spin-off trilogy set between 5 and 6, and I said, boy, do we have a podcast for you? No response.
Good.
And then Walt, our guest last time,
Yes.
wrote a piece for 538 about the 4 types of Vin Diesel movies.
Okay.
Vin Diesel, a year and a half ago, tweeted out a link to that story with no context. We said, Vin, boy, do we have a podcast for you. Surprisingly, Vin did not respond. So last round, Joe,
Zero
points all around.
Okay. I got the perfect
so
one this time.
Jordan, while we go through this, Joe, why don't you look
I'm
for a
sending.
tweet
I
on
already
Twitter.
got mine. Yeah. I need to give some context to this one. This is a conversation that I found the tweet from Gavin Hutsby at Sir Galwain82 replying to at Twigs, and he said, I cannot forgive the world's longest runway ever. Was that in 7? If you read back into this conversation, this has to be the fucking money shot right here.
It honestly looks pretty good.
Yeah, somebody goes, okay, is there a joyously crappy movie with a better soundtrack than Gone in 60 Seconds? And then somebody's like, oh, I got this on CD.
And they put a gif of Nicolas Cage in there.
A gif of
getting,
Nicolas
his gearing
Cage.
up.
Yes.
His gearing up montage. Okay, let's ride. Yeah.
And then it's so shit, it's awesome. I may have to dust off the DVD soon. So shit, it's awesome is a rule I apply to the entire Fast and the Furious franchise. Sorry, not sorry. They talk about the world's longest runway. Yeah, but still, that has to be good. They're talking about Cage. They're talking about the world's longest runway. They're talking about Fast and the Furious. Gone in 60 Seconds. Boy, do we have a podcast for them.
Reply. So we're going to Sir Gawain and Twigs. Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Yes. So, Jordan, we've entered into the middle of conversations. We've entered into like viral tweets. We have no idea how this game works.
Okay, great.
We've replied to old tweets. We replied to new tweets. No idea how it works.
Okay.
I can't figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. You have one?
I'm still looking.
Okay, so I have one. You inspired me in a way, Joe. Here's the tweet that I'm going to do.
Go ahead.
It is from @GarbageBagels.
Cool
This
name.
is a tweet from 2 months ago. Okay?
Oh,
Nicolas
this is a
Cage
good
at the
one.
Mandy premiere is my new favorite Fast and Furious villain. Side note, Mandy looks fucking awesome, which it is. And there's a picture of Cage on the red carpet for
How did you
Mandy.
get a combo one?
I searched Nicolas Cage Fast and Furious.
I guess that's how you do it. Okay.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
That was beautiful. Good choice. I'm glad I
Thank you,
inspired
thank you.
something. Hopefully we get some points out of this one.
There's honestly not that many people because what I really wanted, which I'm sure that there are, but I think
somebody
they're
saying
just old.
if
It's something like
Cage was in
I
it.
would die if Nicolas Cage joined the Fast.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I want. That's like the
Yep.
the golden.
Yep.
Like if you're saying that's the money shot, like this is like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka golden ticket. Like somebody who wants both. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I agree. 1000%. I'm with you.
I mean, I think I'm just gonna have to pick a pretty random one.
There's no
which
rules.
might turn out to be right. I don't know.
You might score 1,000,000 points. Who the fuck knows?
Okay, I'm just gonna like close my eyes and scroll for a second.
Maybe this way is the best way to do it. If Jordan gets points on the next one, that's how I'm picking my fucking tweet.
I do want to know what Jordan searched to get to this. Like, it's not just like she's not just scrolling through Twitter.
No, I searched something. It wasn't like creative, but I started with Fast and Furious.
Yep.
It was like, once you like were googling Nick Cage, I was like, all right, I'll be a little more specific. So I didn't Google it. I searched Twitter and I searched Fast and Furious Paul Walker.
Okay.
And okay, maybe we get a nice good Paul Walker fan in here.
Okay.
So we're gonna go with @Miko Bontia. Oh, it's
Okay.
on my phone. This tweet says, rewatching Fast and Furious 1 through 6, and then I realized that Paul Walker left a legacy. R.I.P. So like he's just watched all the movies, most of the movies.
Yeah.
Fair. Hopefully
You
he
know?
doesn't block us.
It's got 2 likes. It's from 2 days
God
ago.
damn it, official Hugh.
I can't believe I strike out so hard. Like it's not even like I'm like just having people ignore mine. They like block us or like get banned or the one guy freaked out at me with like the bucket of cum and rice or whatever. Like he got really
Well, that was our
mad.
big scoring one. You know, it was a win all around in the end. but-
Yeah, but it was so like yeah. Like we clearly read it and we just like ignored all the weirdness to it and he was like, "Did you even read how weird this was?" And we're like, "Yeah."
So that's sort of how things happened.
Which did you find Jordan's tweet? Did we send it?
I sent it
I
on
did,
Facebook.
yes. It is
Okay.
from @Miko Bontia on Twitter. Boy, do we have a podcast.
For you.
Well, you know, I didn't say this before we started recording, but I thought that this episode might be our longest episode yet ever, and it certainly
fitting.
is.
Wow, I'm
It's
great
fitting.
at being on the longest episodes. Greatest Showman. How long was Greatest Showman?
The Great Showman, I think, was like maybe actually, I'm going to find out. Because Jordan, remember, we recorded 40 minutes before
Oh yeah,
you got on here,
it's
too.
really long.
Yeah.
This is going to be edited down to probably about,
2.
if I had to guess, no, more than
2:15,
that, I think.
2:20.
2:15-ish, I think.
Okay.
Greatest Showman is 2 hours and 9 minutes. So that might be our record for longest episode. Actually, I
How
think,
long's Wild at Heart?
honestly, the Wild at Heart one I think was like an hour 40 or an hour 50. And plus we also talked about Industrial Symphony number 1.
That's true.
Wild at Heart was an hour 46. The first time, Joe, that we talked about this movie was also super long.
So World Longest Runway. Makes sense.
First time we talked about this was 2 hours and 15 minutes. So that's the only one that we broke 2 hours with. But
Next time you do this one with a guest, you have to
Yeah.
like immediately welcome them to the world's longest runway
Yeah.
upon entering the podcast.
Welcome to the world's longest runway. We are going to show you off now. We are taking off or landing. I don't know. Is this plane
I
exploding?
think
I don't
it's
know
exploding at the end.
how does the metaphor end here? You know, not in a good way. R.I.P. Giselle.
Yes.
But Jordan, thank you so much for joining us to talk about this wonderful, wonderful movie. Can you talk briefly about Wistful Thinking and also What Am I Chewing?
Yeah, so I co-host a podcast called Wistful Thinking with my friend Cara Gale Regan, and sometimes we have guests on, although we haven't been super good about that lately. It's kind of just Cara and I talking to each other about movies that for whatever reason feel nostalgic to us.
Which honestly, and I've said this to you privately, the episodes without guests are better than the episodes with guests.
Yeah, I go back and forth between how I feel about it, but
And I mean that as a compliment.
thank
so
you. And I enjoy talking to Cara a lot too.
Kara's great.
We are just finishing up a political themed month.
Okay.
Because this episode comes out Tuesday, so this past week you did Dick, the Richard Nixon alternate history.
We did Dick. So this week, if you're listening
That's
to this,
funny because I do Dick all week, every week.
I kept Googling watch Dick when I was trying to watch this movie, and I got stressed out every time.
Oh, I searched on Amazon just for Dick, thinking this was the first thing to come up. Guess what comes up first? Not this movie. It is definitely like crystal dildos or like glass dildos that you can buy on Amazon, which is now a thing that I know you can buy on Amazon. So there we go.
So yeah, Dick is out now. We did Election before that, which is another great movie.
Pick flick.
If you're listening this week, this is a What Am I Chewing week.
Explain what Am I Chewing is.
So What Am I Chewing is a game that we started playing off air where we eat a snack. The other person has to guess what the snack is. It's exactly what it sounds like, but it's a super fun game that we just started recording.
I think it's funny.
We've had some complicated snacks. We've had some nostalgic snacks. So those come out on the off
questionable
weeks.
breakfast foods.
Some questionable breakfast foods. So yeah, if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, we have a new What Am I Chewing out this Thursday, and then next Thursday we will have the movie Black Sheep starring David Spade and Chris Farley.
Are you not doing a Thanksgiving edition of What Am I Chewing?
Yeah, so it comes out on Thanksgiving, which we actually haven't talked about. We've talked about it, but we haven't decided where we're going with it yet. So yeah, we are doing a Thanksgiving edition of What Am I Chewing?
Okay.
There's not that many shows on the network that are weekly now, and you, in a weird kind of roundabout way, are now a weekly show.
We accidentally became weekly.
That was my ultimate goal when I first talked you up from twice a month to every 2 weeks, and now I knew one day it would be a weekly show where you just shoot into a microphone and guessed what you were hearing. So
Joey, you haven't been on What Am I Chewing, have you?
No, I haven't been on Wistful Thinking in a long time.
Well, you're both invited to What Am I Chewing. It's actually super fun to have guests on.
I'm down. Whenever you want, let me know.
Sweet. Cool. And that's it. If you want to see me do circus things, you can follow me on Instagram at JordoPC.
Very cool. And you can go to cageclub.me/Jordan to learn all about her and the bio that she kind of wrote and I finished writing, because I was like, Jordan, I'm tired of waiting for your bio.
And I was like, please help. I can't finish it. Joey's a good friend, and he did.
I'm your friend, but I'm also the one who was yelling at you to do it, so I felt obligated to be like, hey, here's a helping hand.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/cageclub, at cageclubpod on Twitter and Instagram. Check out our Patreon now at patreon.com/toofast2forever. You can get merch, you can support us, you can get exclusive commentaries, all sorts of fun stuff there. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Basically, just, you are a part of the family by listening to this. Just say hi to us. Even if you don't want us to read what you write on air, we would love to talk to you about whatever. Family@cageclub.me. Just say hi. And Jordan, thank you for being here to talk about the world's longest runway. You are now free to move about the cabin.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
Yeah, I'm glad you were here. This was a fun one for me, so thank you, Jordan.
I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe, too.
And that was Jordan Polan-Clarke of Wistful Thinking and What Am I Chewing? And we'll see you next time for Furious 7 right here on Too Fast, Too Forever.
Okay, we walk off in it, bitch. Ballin' in it, bitch. Okay. Hopping out of Lambos and Ferraris in it, bitch. Popping bottle with a thick red supermodel, bitch. They may talk a lot of that, but they can't do a lot of it. Aye. Rico told me turn the lights on, so I grabbed the Audemars, threw the ice on. I'm a big dog, got 'em pissed off. A lot of nigga rapping ain't nothing.